welcome to The Lady Killers, a Feminine Rage podcast. Hello, and welcome to The Lady Killers, a Feminine Rage podcast. I'm your host, Jennifer's Body Adams, and I'm looking for directions to the cinematograph.
You said that really well. I didn't even know how to pronounce
that. Thank you. Not my first time. I hear there's a cool, kind of spooky show that looks like a prequel to The Babadook, and there may be a roaming wolf there, too. I've just been standing in the street commanding people to see me. See me now. But I might actually have to buy a map. Anyways, while I'm sorting all that out, we have a very special episode in store for you. We are getting gothic with sexy vampires, flowing dresses, and haunting scores. That's right, we are talking about Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to start just dropping sound effects in there like,
Well, I for whatever reason, I thought the listeners could see that I was trying to bear fangs, but I just made a weird pit
I think
sound.
the listeners could feel it.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I hope so.
But I'm not alone. I'm joined by a fabulous panel of Lady Killer experts. You just heard one of them. But we have a special guest today. She's crossed oceans of time to pod with us. From Halloweenies, the Losers Club, and the Girls on the Boys, returning champion Rachel Reeves. Welcome back.
Hero.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited to be here to just talk about every inch and every ounce of this movie. Let it wash over me. Yes, I will. I would gladly cross oceans of time to talk about this movie anytime.
Absolutely. I love it so much. Well, Rachel, say hello and tell us who's your cinematic vampire crush.
Oh my gosh. How many picks?
I know.
Just one?
Hey, as many as you want. We don't limit.
Okay. I mean, obviously Eric from True Blood, but I feel like, sorry, I'm not. I'm sorry for
might be
stealing
mentioning that in a
I
minute.
didn't even think about TV vampires. Ugh.
Oh, I know that opens up a whole other can of worms. I mean, who else? Lost Boys, all of them.
Oh,
I forgot about them.
Salma Hayek.
ugh.
Just life-changing.
Yes. Vampires just are inherently hot.
It comes with the
know.
territory.
Even when they're not hot.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
even Nosferatu, it's like a sexy story, even though he's gross.
Yeah.
Like it's the
Even though he's
best
gross.
monster
Yeah.
fuckers. Like there's thousands of us.
It's like they say about the bear, it's worth the yeast infection.
It's worth the dead corpse smell.
Gross.
It's worth the rot.
Well, since we're getting classy, Sammy,
always.
say hello and tell us who's your cinematic vampire
This
crush.
is Sammy, the blood is life, Kuykendall. And man, I know I've said this a few times over the years, but Jen, this is by far the hardest question you've asked us as a self-proclaimed vampire groupie. So I will say, hold on tight, Spider Monkey, because I think that given I once had a life-size cardboard cutout of the Forks, Washington resident, I have to say Edward Cullen. Rachel saw when we signed on that I am wearing my Twilight shirt for the occasion.
Yes.
And unlike Dracula, my love for that franchise will never die.
True. Oh my gosh. I remember when I was preparing or just figuring out what the books were, and it was a couple of weeks before the movie released, and I just pulled up the website, which was nothing but a picture, and I just would look at him and I was like, he's so
because he came out it came out so long
wait.
ago. The book series was so long, and then the reason I got into it was I heard the Decode song by Paramore, and then that day I was like, Mom, you have to take me to Borders after school because I have to get these books. And now I own the limited editions and Midnight Sun, of course. It is, it'll never die. Exactly like I said. I will be 80 years old, and I will be putting on New Moon and the retirement home, and be and probably by then the dementia will have set in. So the surprise of them not dying and then not dying will probably, I'll be wow, man, cinematic.
it's you'll discover it for the first time
exactly.
again. Oh, and I mean, we can cover it.
Oh, fuck,
too,
I know
so,
that. I am
we will
very
be.
well aware of that factoid.
Are there deaths? I don't remember. I mean, other than turning into a
There kind of
vampire.
are, but there are female vampires.
There are female killers,
so,
absolutely.
that's all I
Rosemary's
need.
story. She's the woman scorned. Her backstory, her lore is that she was a bride and she came back and killed all the men who raped her. And then obviously Vanessa in the first book, she's a vampire. And she's also in the second one too. And I would say if there's vampires, if anyone died, like they suck blood, so they have to. Edward, I mean, I guess he's killed people too, but he's a man, so it doesn't really matter. But
they also, I mean,
Yeah.
they kill that baseball game. I know
oh
that.
hell,
They sure do.
They do. Well, Jen, who's your favorite cinematic vampire crush?
Well, Rachel, you already named mine. I'm going to talk about him in earnest in just a second, but I do want to shout out Kiefer Sutherland
Oh yeah, of course.
in The Lost Boys. That was, I think, maybe my first bad boy crush.
He's perfect.
In the beginning.
Mullet is working. Oh my, such a weird
And the
way.
spikiness and the black, the all black, like the coat. I think it's like a duster. I think that might have been my first mean blonde bad boy.
The duster
And-
too. You're right. Like Blade too looks hot
Yes.
as hell in that duster.
Oh my God.
So
And normally,
Yeah,
like
it
that
does a lot.
shaved on the sides look with like it's not really
Yeah.
a thing for me, but it works for him.
But Kiefer can
It's
pull it
his
off.
whole aura. It's his vibe. It's his like the way his voice sounds. It's their only noodles, Michael.
Yeah.
You know how do you make that line hot and sexy?
That's right.
But
he did.
He could do it. But my forever blonde, mean bad boy is Eric from True Blood. And I didn't even really watch True Blood that much, but that's how powerful he is. To
Jen, is that the first thing you
hot.
saw Alexander Skarsgård in?
Yep.
Me too.
Yeah,
That's-
me
I was
too.
thinking about that today.
And I was like,
that's it.
hello.
That was it.
Yeah, because you just sent me a picture of him wearing thigh-high boots at Cannes. And I was like, I'm going to die. Because he's about to be in a super kinky movie. And
I think that's the
Man.
first time
I might
I
not
picked
survive it.
I was like more drawn to the blonde character than the brunette character for True Blood, and because that doesn't happen
yeah.
very often, as I have said.
Yeah.
But it's because he's the bad boy, and we
he's the
all
bad boy,
know
but
I
then
love
he's
a bad
good for
boy.
just a little bit.
Yes.
So it's like he's got a little bit of both
that's the
worlds,
best type
you know?
of bad boy, though. Is
Also,
the one
what's
that
it? Is it Bill? Is Bill that his name?
Yeah,
Bill.
And he goes, suck it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like
Bill
Bill.
sucks, kind
Boo.
of like
Bill
he's
sucks.
not like.
He's too
And
southern
they,
for me.
Like,
I don't
really
like
date in real life and everything. And I'm like, man, like it just didn't do it for me.
I know. Like, no, Eric is right
I liked
there.
the
Okay.
brother, or not the brother, but like the one that he looks like a surfer dude. He's like Australian or something.
Oh,
too.
from Dead Silence?
Yes,
The guy,
yes,
yeah.
he was also in Summerland, which was like a teen show when I was younger. But I think he's really cute too. And again, Sammy does not pick the blondes often, if ever. So
Yeah.
they should consider that to be the highest compliment.
Well, and I also want to give a shout out to Near Dark.
Oh, yes.
Because Bill Paxton. 'cause
Okay,
Bill
I was
Paxton
gonna-
is so like nasty,
So
hot,
it's-
skeezy.
It's like
love
the
it,
Sinners
so.
vampire, I think, the Irish Sinners vampire.
Mhm.
Oh,
That
yeah.
same
That's
kind of aura, you know,
Yep.
gross but like sweaty, but still you're something is the pheromones you can smell through the screen almost, you know.
Exactly. And again, worth it.
Worth it,
You know.
for sure, worth it, worth the stinky.
Exactly.
God, sorry.
Well, let's talk about the vampires in this movie in our first category, her story.
I am so much happier now that I'm dead. Technically missing. Soon to be presumed dead. Gone. And my lazy, lying, cheating, oblivious husband will go to prison for my murder.
This is a section where we tell the story of the film. Spoilers abound, so listen to your own risk. In Constantinople, not Istanbul. I'm sorry, I had 1462, Prince Dracula goes off to war, leaving his beloved bride Elisabetta behind. Elisabetta. He wins, and by wins, I mean he impales people all over the battlefield. And it's really cool. But a messenger sends back word of his death. Elisabetta is devastated and throws herself into the river, which is like 1,000,000 miles below the castle. Vlad returns to find her dead and rages at God. He stabs a cross, which starts bleeding, and he becomes a vampire.
Dun, dun. Yeah.
Dun-dun-dun.
I know they say this a lot, but like the things men will do instead
Exactly.
of going to therapy. Because like,
Men will rage at God and become a vampire to avoid going to therapy. Exactly. And there are so many things we'll talk about in just a minute that I'm just like, sure,
Yeah,
whatever.
sure.
It looks great.
just
Let's
work
just
through it.
go.
Just feel your feelings. You don't need to rage at
Because
God.
it's not like this is the first time we see like his backstory, like, and he just
Yeah.
kind of whims it, like the lore. I'm like, I don't think this is accurate, but I will take it.
Well, okay, what's interesting is I watched one of those Netflix movies or like docu-series that's like super kind of cheesy. It's like they did one about the czars
Yeah,
in
yeah.
Russia. And there is element of truth of this. Like his wife was like tricked into dying by suicide because she thought he was dead. So I thought it was interesting.
I'll have to look that up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty good. Check it out on Netflix. It's like the second season of something. Like,
oh, my favorite. Oh, my
remember.
favorite show, the second season of something.
It's just called Learn Something, the documentary series.
Exactly. Learn something. You know, you never know what.
But the second season.
Exactly. Yeah. I'll see if I can link it or at least, clarify later. But, listeners feel me.
They know.
You know,
I know
you
they
know what I'm talking
They
about.
know.
It's there. You can find it.
Exactly. 400 years ago, Jonathan Harker is a young solicitor traveling to Transylvania to the home of Count Dracula, or Count D, which I love, to work on a real estate deal. He arrives at the super creepy castle to find an ancient Dracula who can do some cool stuff with shadows. I always expect him to do the yo-yo thing from The Simpsons.
Oh no!
single
Every time, like when we were watching this last night, I was like, because like the first time I saw this character was Mr. Burns, like because I had the Burger King toy, not because I like watched The Simpsons as a kid, but I of course had all of the toys, and so like watching him crawl along the wall, I was like, oh no, this is like ruined now. This isn't scary anymore. Because it's like still, if I had seen it before, maybe I would have thought it was like scary because it's really well done. But every time I'm like, I just hear Mr. Burns like laugh.
It's just Mr. Burns, exactly.
That's funny.
I know. I would kill for that Burger King toy, by the way, too.
It's
awesome.
a pretty good one, yeah.
Dracula spies a cameo picture of Mina, Jonathan's fiance, who just happens to look exactly like Elisabetta. Dracula is smitten. He imprisons Jonathan in the castle where 3 seductive vampires rub and bite him before eating babies that the Count brings them. Also, the Count can crawl on walls, like Mr. Burns.
Yes,
As the Count prepares to travel to London, Jonathan escapes but falls into the river. Back in London, Mina is worried, but helpfully distracting her from her woes is her friend Lucy, a wealthy young socialite currently deciding between 3 dashing suitors.
Must be nice.
I know. Despite making the obvious choice and choosing Dream Crush Carrie Elways, Arthur, she's visited by a sexy wolf man who lures her out into the garden at night to bite her on the neck.
Mac Gerber? Is it Mac?
No, not a
Wolfman
Halloweeny
Mac.
sexy wolf man. Yes, this is more wolf than man. I think
Yes.
And it's Dracula, spoilers. She grows sick, and another suitor calls Dr. Van Helsing to help. With Jonathan gone, Mina begins hanging out with Dracula, who is now young again and seems very familiar to her. They grow closer, but when Jonathan washes up on the banks of the river in Romania, Mina rushes to his side and they marry at a convent. Heartbroken, Drac takes Lucy as his bride, and by that I mean he kills her. Van Helsing is like, she's a vampire, we have to decapitate her corpse. And when they visit her crypt, she's not in her coffin. She's out catching a toddler to eat.
As you do.
And
girl dinner.
It always cracks me up when she just drops this toddler on the floor.
I know. And it actually looks like she really did drop this kid.
I know. I was like, ooh.
Because it's an actual it looks like a child. Like,
It is.
does not,
it is.
It's all practical effects. Like, fucking this Coppola was not about to have a CGI baby. That's for sure.
No. He was going to have like a Megan baby.
Or like American Sniper baby. Like,
right, exactly. Yeah.
Or Twilight baby.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Renesmee. Yes.
Oh my gosh. So, convinced that she is actually a vampire, Arthur drives a stake through her heart and they cut off her head. When Lucy returns to London, Jonathan recognizes Dracula. The men visit his house to kill him while he visits Mina in bed. She remembers her life as Elisabetta and drinks his blood, but Drac says he loves her too much to condemn her.
Yeah,
Romantic.
2 seconds too late.
I know.
Exactly.
She's
You
already
should have
been
thought about
sucking
this
on
before.
it. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Then it calls into question how much blood needs to be consumed before it's done. I mean, and obviously she turns, but still I was like, dude, like that's a little it's too little too late.
Exactly. Well, and did he just want the mind control? We're going to talk about it because I have some thoughts. But the men return and he turns into mice to escape. Okay, and this is where I always lose the plot. I swear to God, I have seen this movie so many times, and this is the point where I'm like,
Wait,
I
what?
guess we're all just
Yep.
going back to the castle.
Free for all, throwing spaghetti
Exactly.
at the wall a little bit.
Yep. So Drac goes back to the castle, but Van Helsing, the suitors, Jonathan, and Mina chase him in separate parties. And increasingly vampiric Mina starts to act all witchy and has a psychic connection with Dracula. Also, maybe she's Elisabetta a little bit. I'm not totally sure. We're
Wires
going
are
to talk
getting
about
crossed, you know? They're
Exactly.
They're becoming one.
Right. And it's cool. I'm into it. I am not into her making out with Van Helsing.
I hate
just
it.
wrote gross.
I hate it.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
weird.
completely forgot
Yeah.
about it. And I was like, maybe
I did
my
too.
little
I
baby
forget
brain
every time.
like completely like just erased that memory. It was like, I don't want to remember that plot point.
Don't make out with your dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
The brides are watching from outside a ring of fire. Not that kind of ring of fire. It's vampire fire.
Sorry, Johnny
But
Cash.
the next morning, I know, sorry. But the next morning, Van Helsing cuts off the 3 brides' heads and throws them into the river. So this river is getting a lot of action. While Mina harnesses the power of blue flames to protect Dracula, everyone ends up back at the castle just as the sun is setting. It's snowy. It's incredible. The men fight with guns and swords, and the Texan suitor, Quincy, I believe, dies.
Quincy.
Quincy
the
Drac-
cowboy. Like,
Yeah. Oh, Quincy, it's so big and hard.
that was a good
Let me touch
impression.
it.
You're on like,
Thank
with
you.
your enunciations, your impressions.
Man,
what a hoot.
It did shift a little Texan instead of London, but you know,
Yeah, so it
whatever.
goes.
We do what we can.
Yes.
You know, she does get Southern when she becomes a vampire, though. So you know. So Drac is wounded, but Mina won't let the men finish the job. She follows Drac inside the castle, and they share a tender moment in the chapel. Drac begs to be released, and Lucy cuts off his head. The mark on her own forehead disappears, indicating that she is no longer infected with the vampire's curse. And then I always have to turn off whatever streamer is about to kick me to the next thing so I can hear the
song,
score and so
yeah.
I can hear this Annie Lennox song because I fucking love it so much. And that is Bram Stoker's Dracula. It's incredible. If you haven't seen it, stop this and go listen right now. But then come
We're
right
all
back.
flapping our bat wings.
Exactly. I'm turning into mice, though. Y'all can turn into.
But how does that
to
work? Like,
bats.
do they all have to get together back? Like, does he need to find every little mouse, like, so that he can become a person again? Like, is he maybe?
I just imagine it's like what we do in the shadows when he just yells mice,
Mice.
and then turns
But,
into.
like, if he
bats?
loses a mouse, is he like? Is that maybe like a hand? You know? Like,
Oh, it's
I've wondered,
or
like,
is it like Terminator 2, the T-1000, when he goes and walks next to the mouse, and then the mouse gets like
double
absorbed?
feature,
Yeah.
T2 or Dracula,
Exactly.
same movie.
Ooh. Yeah, totally. Well, what is our story with Bram Stoker's Dracula? And Rachel, I also want to ask you about the score too.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. My story with this, I don't actually remember the first time I saw this, but that's only because I've seen it a billion times. So it's like it's hard. But we were talking off pod a little bit, and it's always good. Like I'm never gonna say no to watching this movie.
Yeah.
I've always loved it. And then the more you learn about it too, like it just becomes even more interesting with all the effects and the background and Coppola and the casting, and just so it's just such a rewarding thing because the more and more you learn, like dig into it and learn about it, it's just incredible. And yeah, the music by Wojciech Kilar is, oh my gosh, like it's
so good.
it's like one of my all-time favorites. It's so good by itself, and it's just such a perfect companion. And I think every part of this movie is perfect. And I'm sure we'll get into that more as we go through. But like everybody brought their A game to this production. And probably because like Coppola was like demanding it and they had like really specific ideas. I mean, okay, everybody, we can talk about Keanu
Yeah,
later.
sorry, I was like, Rachel, no.
But I was thinking more like the crew, you know,
Yes.
the production
Yes.
designers and the costume designers and like everybody else, the effects and everything like that. They all brought their A game, and Wojciech Kilar, the composer, brought his A game to this. But you know, everybody else, some of the cast we could talk about, but no complaints
It was
about
weird.
this.
I texted Jen earlier because it was just like one of those weird synchronicities where I was just getting to the point in the outline where we're going to talk about the brides while I was doing my notes, and I had like a gothic playlist on Spotify that was playing, and it started playing the sound, like the music from the bride scene as I got to it. And it just gave me like a shiver down my side. I don't know. It's like so, it's like, you know, it was just, I was in a Gothic playlist. Like, of course they're gonna play a Dracula
Yeah.
song. But it was just the timing of me going to that portion of my notes where I was like, ooh, creepy.
They're watching. They're watching
Yes.
outside a circle of blue flames.
Yeah.
Be
Yes,
careful.
it's a little too much sun out right now, but they're coming.
And I will just say this one note about the score because this guy, he was at the time like a really prominent composer like in Poland, but he had never kind of broken into the American market until Coppola called him and was like,
Ooh.
"Hey, I really want like this kind of music and I really want it to have a proper sort of Eastern European flair and I want it to be authentic and I want to get somebody that knows what they're doing." And he had listened to him, and so he reached out to this guy and they talked and he basically gave him free reign to do like
Cool.
do whatever you want.
Wow.
This is my idea. Here's some like notes and kind of my vision for all of this. And this is what he came back with. So just incredible and such a smart idea to like get somebody who knows this story, has connections to this part of the world. And then yeah, this was his first like introduction to Hollywood basically. And so
Well,
I
I
mean,
read
what an
that
incredible introduction.
that he like well, I guess because I watched the behind the scenes stuff and like
Yeah.
just did a bunch of research and like the composer was like fed up with not getting paid on time, so he only like did a few pieces of it and then like he still delivered this like incredible score.
Oh, yeah.
But it wasn't like to the like it was not completely finished, I guess, because he was like, you guys aren't paying me. So yeah, his first introduction to Hollywood was not
Well,
getting
yeah,
paid.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, classic, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I think like the only other score that I can think that like just perfectly matches this like gothic, horrific, but also really romantic vibe. It's just like walks that fine line perfectly is the Hellraiser score,
Yes.
and
Oh,
both
yeah.
of them,
Uh-huh.
it's like it elevates the movie in such an exciting way, and they're so like iconic, and I just love how deep and dark this is, but it's still romantic, and it's perfect.
Well, and like very thematic. Feels
Yes,
very
exactly.
classic, cinematic.
Or like Broadway production, like it's like Shakespeare
Yeah.
play or something. You know what I mean? Like I feel like
Yeah.
it should be
Yeah.
like in whatever that original place.
Oh, the Globe,
Yes,
I think.
yes, yeah.
that thing.
That thing. Yeah.
Well, Sammy, what's your story with the Bram Stoker's Dracula?
I just like Rachel. This is one of those movies where I don't really remember life without having it in it. Like I can't really pin down the exact age I first watched it. But like this and like Interview with the Vampire. And honestly, I know it isn't a vampire movie, but Legends of the Fall too were all like
Oh my
really
God, I
big.
love Legends
That's
of the
so
Fall.
good movies for me. I had that
We
on
can
VHS.
cover that
I
too.
know. I mean, I haven't watched them since I was a kid too, but those were really formative on my taste going forward. Because we know I love enemies to lovers. I love forbidden love. I love morally gray characters. Literally, I have a sticker on my computer that says morally gray is my favorite color, and they all deliver on that front. Plus, they all featured sex scenes that like rocked my like 8-year-old world, because I might not exactly remember at what age I first watched it, but I do have a really vivid memory of like having my grip tight on like the previous channel button on my remote whenever I watched it.
Oh.
So like if I heard like the pitter patter of my mom's feet, like I knew to change it really back to like Disney Channel or something. So it's like, please don't.
funny.
Like there's no scene in which I want you to walk in on me watching this movie at all at the age I was at too. But it's funny, I actually forced Mike to watch the 2004 Phantom of the Opera the night before we watched this, because you guys just covered Phantom on Halloween Eve.
Yeah.
And I found that like the two movies make for like a really good double feature. It's like almost the exact same plot, but Phantom just has, some more synth bangers and less blood, but it's so good. Oh God, it's one of my, but yeah, the characters are very similar and the love story is very similar, even though Christine picking Raoul, don't even get me started. But yeah, this is Sammy Catnip, as I like to call it. I'm a vampire super fan. Like, of course I love this movie. I only wish that they rode off into the sunset together, because this shit is my kryptonite, and I don't even care how sick of an individual he is. Like, he really does it for me. I will say though that I'm not super familiar with Francis Ford Coppola's like work as a whole. I think I've only seen The Outsiders aside from this one, and I realized while watching that this is another Coppola joint we're covering after Sophia last week. So I was like, I guess we're like Coppola open it up this month. Coppola open month.
It's Coppola Palooza.
Yes, the Coppola Cabana.
Coppola.
Yes.
Well,
We'll
you
workshop it,
you gotta
listeners.
watch The Godfather. Come on now.
I
have seen The
I haven't
Godfather.
seen any of them, and I've never seen
Okay,
Apocalypse
well,
Now.
well,
So
you gotta be in a mood to watch
I
Apocalypse Now.
know.
Yeah.
Maybe if you guys do that on the, because that I feel like that's right for like a girls on the boys type of like
Oh, yeah.
thing. So maybe that'll finally give me a reason to watch it if you guys do those.
Okay, we'll get there eventually.
Yeah, I'll leave a review.
I'm sure we will.
Can you guys please
Yeah.
do The Godfather so I can watch those movies?
Well, I do remember a time before this because I remember when it came out in theaters and I was in middle school, and I remember my friend Lauren went to see it with her mom, and I was jealous.
Rough movie to
because-
see with your mom. Sorry.
I know. But she had a cool mom,
Mm.
and so she would take her to these R-rated movies. And the first thing I ever heard about it was one I heard like on the news or like late night or something that Keanu Reeves was terrible in it. And I heard that we go from cutting off someone's head to roast beef. And so that was my frame of reference for this.
That is so
And I
funny.
think- I know, isn't it weird? But
Like
I was also
that?
watching
What's your frame of reference? That's so funny.
for like years. And I think I also was watching trailers for this and thinking, this looks terrifying. Like this looks at like the scariest story ever told. And I think it is Dracula. It's like the origin of evil in a lot of ways. Like Dracula and like the devil, I think,
Yeah.
are like
Similar.
I don't know, kind of exactly. And I think the way there are a lot of moments here where Dracula just looks pure evil, which I really love. And I think that was really highlighted in the previews. And so I had this weird mix of thinking this was too scary for me to watch, but also it would be ridiculous. And so I didn't. And I don't actually remember the first time I watched it, but at some point a switch flipped in my head and I became obsessed with this movie. And I think for a while I couldn't find it anywhere. And so it became like a forbidden thing, you know? And I just was watching it, and you put it on, and I've talked about this in several podcasts before. It's like every single inch of the screen is gorgeous.
Yes, it's
at
a feast
all
for the
times.
eyes. Like you,
It
yeah,
really
yeah.
is. And even the thing, like the first 30 minutes of this movie are just flawless. Like from this like kind of shadow puppet style battle with all the people impaled, this armor that he's
So
wearing.
good, iconic too.
Oh my
The
God.
licorice
And
armor
then
is what I always thought it looked
I
like.
love it. I always think of that meme from The Devil Wears Prada.
Yes,
You know, are you wearing
like the Dracula?
the Dracula
yeah.
armor? Yes. But like and now I am obsessed with this. And it's not always streaming, but whenever it is, I'm like, bam, I push play right away because like I know I may not have time to watch the entire thing. And I think I have fallen asleep quite a few times.
I think that's
before the like
right
I've
for
seen the
that.
beginning of this because I just always put it
Yeah.
on even if I don't have time. And I think I've seen the beginning of this probably twice as much as I've seen
because then
the
you
full
fall
movie.
asleep within the 2.5-hour runtime, you know, or however long it
Exactly,
is.
yeah.
But like he is
But I
like
just-
a fallen angel. You're right. Like the devil
Yeah.
is like he's not. That's why I love this character. This is why I love the
Yeah.
story of the vampire. Is like they're cursed. You know what I mean? Like they don't. Most of the time they don't want it. They don't want this,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like trying to keep the person that they love from choosing the same fate.
Mm-hmm.
For me, you know, it would take less than nothing. So like maybe like fucking bite me. But I
Yeah.
and
I'd
try
I do
out.
love
I'd
that.
try it,
Yes,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's a really interesting depiction of Dracula too. And we're going to talk mostly about the women because I also love Lucy. Like
Ugh,
her
favorite.
just this scene in the crypt is just candy to me. But I think this is such an interesting depiction of Dracula because he's like eating babies. He's got red eyes. Like he is super evil, but then he is so sweet with Mina. And like you find yourself rooting for him a
Oh,
little bit. So
yeah.
it's just like they're pulling off this magic trick and it's incredible. I love it so much. I think it might be a perfect movie. Even with its flaws. Like I almost kind of love
its
Keanu
flaws,
Reeves
too.
in this.
Yes,
you
It
I
know?
know.
adds to the experience, honestly. Like
I do too.
I guess I watched the behind the scenes commentary on YouTube, and the attention to detail on this film is like genuinely insane. I guess Keanu Reeves and her, they they did the scene where they get married in an actual church here, and so like
That's where the rumor comes
yes,
from.
that they're
That they
married.
actually got
yes,
married.
They're actually,
yes.
and they
In
still
the
call each
eyes-
other husband and
in
wife.
the eyes
which
of
is
like
so
God,
sweet.
they are married.
Yeah.
But like he also said like he was tied between like all of these different roles, Keanu at the time, and was just exhausted. So he was like, I had nothing to give. And then it was originally supposed to be Johnny Depp, but the studio wanted like a guy that was like a heartthrob at the time, which I kind of feel like at the same like they both were on that era, but maybe he just wasn't super well known yet. But
I think we dodged a bullet there.
yeah, I think so too. Honestly, yeah, same. Although
like Neo?
unfortunately,
Oh,
they
ooh.
do have a ton of chemistry that we've seen and like
They
like,
do.
but like I understand the change, but I do wish I don't know. I agree, Rachel. Like it's bad, and I can accept that it's bad, but I don't really care enough. Like
I feel like I've come around. Like I feel like it makes sense for the character almost. Like he's just like
He's
very
aloof.
like he comes across
He's
very
kind of a dope.
yes.
a little bit of a dork, but like a good guy. You know,
Yeah.
like he's stable but not exciting. But he's just kind of like I'm a proper man and this is what I do.
It's not really his story
Like-
either. Like I don't
No.
think
Right.
of John like in the eyes of like this like the original source material, I feel like he's almost like just like the narrator, like the person that's presenting the story to you, not really a
Right.
character that you care about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I did read that Coppola like was like obsessed with this story as a kid, and he felt like the novel felt like something he specifically owned. And I can remember like a feeling of thinking no one else understood a text more than I did when I was like younger too. So I really related and like that resonated with me. Like when you love something and you kind of gatekeep it because there was no internet when we were kids, so you just assumed you're the only person that likes this thing. So I was like, you know what? I'm relating to you, you 80-year-old man. I get it. I get that.
Yep. It's me with Firestarter.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, Keanu Reeves is just so likable. Like, it's hard to be mad at him or dislike him, even when, he's kind of a block of woodish
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, but it's dopey. It's like, I don't know.
But he's so sweet. And I love when his hair is gray, too.
Yes. Oh my God.
So silly.
At first I couldn't
know.
tell. I was like, is it getting grayer? Like it's like really subtle. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh, that's not like quite white. It was like this weird, like greenish hue to it. I was like, okay.
But it's still hot.
Yes.
I would still marry him in Romania,
Yes. I also think that I Have Crossed Oceans of Time to Find You is the most romantic
my
line
God.
in cinematic history. And I think
I
I've
love
been
it.
chasing that high like ever since.
Uh-huh.
And the last thing before we move on is I did want to bring it up because this will kind of base a lot of the things I'll be talking about this episode. Doing my research, I found that the character of Mina is much different in the source material. There is no romantic subplot between them. So while he wasn't like the first to do it, I still feel like essentially kind of started a, Dracula as the love interest type of thing. And I have a lot to say on that for the rest of the episode.
Well, and okay, I want to ask real quick. Have we read the book?
I have not. I've tried. When I was
Okay.
younger, I tried, and it was written a little too adult for 13-year-old me, and
Yeah.
it was a little heavy. Like it just was too much.
I think it's a little boring.
Yeah, that's what the general consensus is. Yeah, yeah.
It's fine. And I mean, I have recently encountered some Blue Sky users who are very passionate about it. So, and it is a good book. It's a classic work of literature, but it's just the epistolary format. It's just too much for me. I have finished the whole thing because I listened to it because I was writing about Last Voyage of the Demeter.
Which I almost wanted to be
But-
like, maybe I'll just put this on in between and then follow the story,
Exactly.
like restart it.
Yeah.
And I liked Last Voyage of the Demeter.
too.
That's
I dug it.
another conversation, but yeah,
no,
it was
no
fun.
lady killers, but
No lady killers.
Sadly.
But I do kill a kid, and I always admire a movie that will go there. So
here, here.
Well, speaking of killing kids, let's talk about some ladies who kill some kids. In our next category, who is she?
I just wish we could all get along like we used to in middle school. I wish that I could bake a cake made out of rainbows and smiles and we'd all eat it, be happy.
She doesn't even go here.
Do you even go to this school?
Okay, so we've got Lucy Westenra, played by Sadie Frost. Cannot wait to talk about her. We have Mina Murray Harker, played by Winona Ryder. And we have Dracula's Brides, played by Monica Bellucci. I did not know
I didn't either
that.
till I was
Oh,
doing the
yeah.
trivia either. I was
It's
like,
like-
first time.
Yeah. Oh, and then we have Michaela Bersu and Florina Kendrick. All right, and our victims. Lucy kills babies and children. I think just the toddler we see, but I've got some
Lucy.
thoughts about that from the book. The one thing that I'm going to pull in from the book is about Lucy.
Okay.
And then Mina kills Dracula. And then the brides try to kill Jonathan and they eat a baby.
And a horse.
And a horse, that's right. They kill a horse too. And I mean, we can assume they've been killing for a long time. Yeah. Okay. And our motive, thirst and love, which I just love so much. And our weapons, teeth, virtue, swords, blue flame.
That blue flame, man.
I love it.
It's the only CGI in the film. That was just so cool.
Really?
Yeah, that's that. Like the ring.
It pricked up my fire starter antenna, and I was like, that's my goal after becoming pyrokinetic, is to make my flames
a blue flame. Yes.
Yeah. So let's talk about these costumes. Rachel, what's your favorite look, and how do we think Coppola is using costumes here to aid characterization?
Oh my gosh. These costumes.
Oh my God.
Where do we start? I mean, number one.
Exquisite.
We should give credit where credit's due. The costume designer. I apologies if I pronounce her name wrong, but Aiko Ishioka was a costume designer. And I don't know, are you guys familiar with her?
No.
Her story at all?
No.
It's so cool.
No.
She wasn't even originally a costume designer. She was marketing, did advertising, graphic design sort of stuff. She, I guess, had been hired to do the Japanese version of the Apocalypse Now poster, and Coppola saw it and was like, what the fuck is this? Who did this? This is amazing. And then reached out to her about the costumes for this and started working with her just because he loved her ideas.
Imagine this being your first job doing costuming. Like, these are some of the
God.
most stunning costumes ever put to film. And that was your first costuming job, or film costuming job, like mainstream. That's crazy.
And then also to have like basically a blank check. Like, he told everybody, supposedly this is like a Hollywood rumor. I don't know if it's 100% fact, but he just said like the costumes will be the set. Like, do whatever you want.
It was his studio that paid for it too. So I mean, he funneled all of his own money,
like
as he
tons
did.
of money into this.
That vineyard money.
Yes, yeah.
And just kind of like, and she just, the way that she's getting mixes these ideas of like blending in like the Eastern and Western motifs to just really give it like a timeless sort of otherworldly decadent feel is just so cool. And then tapping into the story with all of the like animals and nature references, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I think my favorites, I mean, they're all Lucy's.
Yeah.
Like basically all of Lucy's costumes, I think, are incredible and such a perfect extension of her character. I mean, we can talk about that. I don't know what you call it, a death shroud, a wedding dress. Like,
Oh,
what is
yeah. I
this?
have a love-hate
I
relationship
do
with
too,
that
because I think
frock.
it like, I don't know, it's chosen for her, kind of, I feel like.
Exactly,
and that's why, like, because I agree, like, the costumes are far away my favorite aspect of the movie. And I think, specifically the women, the men are all dressed like cowboys, basically, or like, dukes or whatever. But
Oh, yeah, outside of Dracula.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Except for Dracula, and that is incredible also.
Everything he wears is
Every
incredible.
outfit,
Every single thing.
And I
Oh
read
my
that,
God.
like, I guess this is like such a duh Sammy moment, but like when I was watching the behind the scenes thing, first of all, it was a jump scare because when they first go to Gary Oldman, they had to shave like just the front of his hairline for costuming. So it was just like he just starts talking like a talking head, and there's no explanation about it, but there's just like a huge chunk of his hair missing in the front.
Oh, that's weird.
It was weird.
He's
It was very
committed.
bizarre.
They just put some like plastic over it.
It was
and
like
shoot
to
some
make the
hair.
widow's peak, I guess, more prominent, which I get. But it was
Okay.
just like, if I hadn't read that before, like, and I saw I was like, what the fuck was going on with his hair?
Right.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that, like, it's him in every single, like, he is in the wolf makeup, that is him
yeah.
in the bat makeup, and I guess that's like such a, like, obviously Sammy, but I really was like jarred, I guess, like surprised, because it's such a heavy duty makeup that I assumed they got like some random person, to kind of fill in,
Or at least like
whatever.
Doug Jones or something,
exactly.
like a creature actor.
Yes, exactly. And so when I saw like all of he said it was the hardest thing he's ever done, and I believe that. But I was like, God damn, like you played so many different versions of this character and had to sit for hours and makeup, and it was really funny because you would watch, they like showed you a scene where he's the bat, and it's like it's behind the scenes, so he's in full bat costume and he's just like talking, and they're getting frustrated with each other, so it's just, and while his like weird little naked like penal areas like there. You just like can't help but be like, I can't take you seriously right now.
No, movies are weird.
It is. It's
That's
just
why I could never be an
Absolutely.
actor.
It's just, it doesn't compute. Like it feels like almost uncanny valley. Like I'm like, I shouldn't be watching this, you know?
Uh-huh.
But yeah, I agree with Rachel. Like Lucy's outfits are my favorite. It's the red dress for me. It's like the
Oh.
color of blood, you know, both her hair and the dress. And so like, I think it's like no wonder that like she stands out to Dracula, you know, among like the boringness of kind of the other costumes and Mina's outfits, to be honest, you know? And so
Yeah.
I love that, like that ethereal, like, wave when she walks down the stairs is just so it's stuck in my head for my entire life since I've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah, the use of red just in general, because I mean, it could mean so many different things, right? Like,
Yes.
this is a vampire movie, obviously, duh. So, blood, of course. But then we've also got the love story, but then danger, and just the mixing of those three. Like, even if you're just thinking of those ideas, like love, danger, and blood, and just the idea that like blood is life, but it's also
Yes.
death, and just all of that mixed together. I know that's all like very basic and simplified, but it's very cool.
But specifically for women too, like our first blood,
Yeah.
you know, or like losing your virginity in the blood of that, you know, and because that's like so like is a big, you know, portion of their personalities. They're Victorian women, of course they're virgins,
Yeah.
you know. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
but Jen, I would like to hear your favorite outfit.
Oh, I think Dracula, it's just, I love this muscle suit so much. Like, it
It's
is
so cool.
so cool,
Yeah.
so unexpected. And
Yeah.
you're looking at him and you're like, wait, is that your armor? And then it makes you want to like look into history and think,
Yeah.
did people wear this, you know?
It's
And then I love his old Dracula suit. Like, it's just the beginning of this movie is just perfect. But I think I just wrote about Ellen Hutter in Nosferatu and comparing her to Mina and her cinematic versions, and somebody got mad at me because I think I was short shrifting Mina a little bit. And I want to love Mina more than I think I do, but she's overshadowed by Lucy, I think. And I think part of it is the costumes. Like, she just seems to always mirror the people she's around, and she feels
Yes.
changeable, you know? Like, and I think specifically in this street scene with Dracula, like the see me part with its incredible glasses, Dracula has the look there, and her look is mimicking his. And then I think in every scene, she just like, sometimes she looks like Lucy and they feel like they're a matching set. And then in that incredible scene when they're dancing with all the candles, she's wearing that long flowing romantic dress to match Dracula's like long flowing hair. And I wonder if, like, I feel like I don't give her enough credit, but I think part of it is because in this sea of people that are standing out for their characterization and their costuming and their incredible looks, she just seems to change with everybody. And I think my favorite look is at the very end when she's got this dress, and it's pretty simple, but it's got these really long sleeves on it. And that's when she feels like she finally comes into her own, you
it
know?
feels like she's dressing for herself.
Well,
You know,
so
not
that's the
gaze.
thing. And that's what I really like about Mina's. Like, that's all very intentional, right? The idea about the modesty
Yeah.
and mirroring the times and the high collars and kind of doing what's expected of her. The kind of the color green too. It's just very
it's natural.
pure,
Yes.
Well, it's the opposite of
grounded.
red,
Exactly.
too.
Yes, it's not drawing attention, and like green's a very sexual color, kind of. Yeah. Versus like red, which is, a siren, like you're trying to get attention. But then as the film progresses, or as she becomes influenced by Mina, obviously the film was all about like transformation and sexual awakening and just kind of figuring out like, what do I want? Who am I in this world? And I think you're right, though, that last dress, it's a little bit more, the neckline is a little lower and it's still that same color, but it's her coming into her own a little bit more
Yeah.
and being more acceptance of like, okay, I can be a little sexual. I don't have to be this prim and proper all the time, but I also don't have to be as far as Lucy, maybe perhaps, and like I
Yeah.
don't have to be like that flamboyant in that way. But also tying it, like a lot of her costumes tie back to Elisabetta too.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's like some connections between those characters and some like the Renaissance sort of feel. I guess Renaissance. I don't know if that's actually the correct time period. Some of those connections, I don't know, gave me Renaissance vibes, I guess. And you see some of those things in her costumes, which is really cool. And just, I just, the attention to detail there is just so cool. It's just storytelling through these clothes, and that's amazing.
Yeah. And my friend Gina Radcliffe has a book about this and has told me about it, and just like don't know, highlighting every single look, and I want to
I
order
actually
it.
feel like I read a couple of her articles when I was doing research.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, she loves
It
this
was,
movie.
I think, because so as I said at the top, I did like digging into the original source material, so I could just be aware of the differences and similarities. So I read that though Mina and Lucy play significant roles, Stoker portrays them as like means to present the ideal Victoria woman, with Mina
Right.
really fulfilling that idea.
Yeah.
She represents purity, and is a subject to like the traditional values of a woman's role in that particular society. Whereas Lucy is, portrayed as the opposite with her purity expressed through her physical characteristics. But I guess it's thought that this was like his response to the new woman movement, which wasn't something I knew about. It was a feminist
What's
movement.
the new
So
women
thank you.
movement?
I am glad that I'm not the only one that didn't know what it was. I felt like a bad woman. I was like, damn, I've never heard of this. But I guess it was a movement that emerged towards the end of the 19th century, and it was like challenged traditional Victorian ideals of women's roles and behaviors, and advocated for greater educational and professional opportunities for women, and their increased public participation and like more modern appearance and way that they dressed and presented themselves. And the term sort of became associated with a generation of women who like rejected
Domesticity?
Thank you. God, that's always, I have a couple words that are like, my tongue gets tongue tied when I try to say that. And and embraced kind of public life. They weren't just in the home. They went and did things like that weren't just errands for their families.
They went to the cinematograph.
Yes, exactly. To see the Babadook prequel.
Yeah, exactly.
But Mina is clearly like the good and well-behaved one of the two. And I think we can say without hesitation that he sort of understood the assignment in respect to the original description of the characters, at least costume wise. Because it's I see, like you said, Rachel, I see the pin back hair and the high neckline, and I immediately am like, wee woo, we've got a prude alert. And then then you have Lucy, who's essentially wearing the equivalent of a two-piece at a Mormon pool. Everyone's eyes are just on her, even though it's because men would see an ankle and freak out back then.
Well, even when she's got the bustle and stuff, and the rest of it that was very sheer, it feels like Victorian lingerie almost. Everything she's wearing,
but
it's
still
still
very covered
revealing,
though too. Yes,
but
at the
covered,
same time.
yeah.
But the more I read into the original novel, which I'm glad Jen has read, the more glaring the differences personality wise were between the two Minas. And I thought that was just really interesting what Coppola took and did with the character, because I prefer this version compared to what I've read.
Yeah.
And I also think it's interesting that the male characters are all dressed, really heroes, and brave men. They feel very masculine.
They've got their gallant mustaches.
Yes, exactly. Especially, I guess this is the only one that includes the cowboy character, Quincy.
Oh, Quincy.
Who is in the book, I guess. So I did not know that. And my one thing about Dracula that I will say that will always be my pet peeve is I just I hate the curly long hair ringlets, because it reminds me of the Cowardly Lion and Wizard of Oz. Doesn't it look like that? I'm sorry. So I'm sorry to ruin that for you guys. Still would. It doesn't completely ruin it for me, but every time I just hear that, I hear the Cowardly Lion hold his tail, and I'm oh gosh, it kind of takes it. It ruins it.
They are nice ringlets, though.
They are. They're beautiful, but I just don't like my men with pageant girl hair.
I like a bit of a scruffier do, Well, I'm trying to figure out how to get from hair to getting into this if he couldn't get into a carriage because the wind would blow those ringlets out and it would get messy, but it might look better.
Yeah.
So,
no, I like that one.
We're getting in a hair-ruining carriage that is driving to a castle that looks like an old skeleton on a step, which I also
I'm picturing
fucking love.
I'm reaching out with my long, crow gloves and pulling
and
you
I'm
in.
just staring with my eyes right above the screen. And we're doing that and getting in, loser, we're going killing.
This woman will soon cut, chop, break, and burn 5 men beyond recognition. And there isn't a jury in this country that will convict her.
All right, so let's talk about Lucy. Love, love, love her. There are a couple of line deliveries in the wide world of cinema that just have my heart. There are some from the original Halloween, some from Terminator 2, but one of my all-time favorites is Lucy saying, and I'm going to try to step back from the mic, I love him, oh, Mina, I've decided. I love her so much. I love that we are, oh my God. And the chirpy little British voice, it's like, she is the evolved version of Mia Goth.
Yes,
she's
oh
like,
my
if Mia
gosh.
Goth didn't
Yeah.
freak you out a little bit.
Hello,
you know?
governor.
Here's my question about how she says it though, because I almost like don't believe her, but I still love
Yeah.
it, because I feel like she's like, I love him, I love him. It's like, I don't know if I really do, but she's like, I've decided.
It's young little girl love. Like it's like, when you're writing in your notebook, like, oh, Dracula loves Mina. Like that's like that's
Well, and I mean,
Yes.
if you actually loved him, it wouldn't be a choice. Like, you wouldn't have to decide.
you wouldn't have
you
even
know?
been
That's the
like,
thing. Yeah, I've
right.
decided. And he's the
wealthy.
wealthiest, the most privileged, the most of status. He has the most to offer. So it's like,
Exactly.
okay. I mean, if you love him, that's great.
I don't know, the cowboy.
He's got a big hard knife, or maybe it's a gun.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Seward would be at the asylum all day and night. So yeah, I mean, and the other one is fucking Carrie Elways, who is like one of the most beautiful men in the world, especially in the 90s. So yeah, it is an obvious choice for her, but I love that we are essentially introduced to Lucy through the Kama Sutra. She's like, well, I did that last night in my dreams. I just love her. She's so sensual. Okay, so I pulled a couple of quotes. Mina says, first I have to say, Quincy says, Miss Mina, you're as fresh as the spring rain. And I love it. Okay, and then Mina says, Lucy is a pure and virtuous girl, but I admit that her free way of speaking shocks me sometimes. Jonathan says it is a deficit of the aristocracy that they say what they please. The truth is that I admire Lucy, and I'm not surprised that men flock around her. I wish I were as pretty and as adored as she. And then Lucy herself says to Mina, oh, Mina, you're always working. Is your ambitious John Harker forcing you to learn that ridiculous machine, a typewriter, when he could be forcing you to perform unspeakable acts of desperate passion on the parlor floor? Okay, so let's talk about Lucy before she becomes undead, the Bloofer lady. Okay, how does she challenge our ideas of proper womanhood, and does she feel reductive or empowering? Or is it a mix of both?
So, surprising no one, this is probably the character I relate to the most because honestly, like I said, it takes me, way too fucking long to get there for me. Like, I think the reason I was so drawn to these types of stories as a crazy little kid and now even as a crazier little adult was because you wouldn't need to use powers to get me to go to you in this scenario. Like, the minute a mysterious hot count turns up, like, I'm fucking cooked. I'm done. Bye-bye, Jonathan. Like, catch you on the flippity flop.
Or why not both?
Yeah, so why not both? But to answer your question, and perhaps this is a hot take, I find her to not only be like the more interesting of the two female leads. Sorry, Winona, like it's not your fault, it's just the character. And I absolutely do find her empowering, mostly because as I've talked about on the pod before, I was a pretty horny little kid and I lived in a really sheltered religious suburb in Northern California. So I wasn't telling a whole lot of people about my Barbies and Bratz dolls scissoring in the dream house every night. So I saw myself in Lucy more than I did in Mina. And I also think it's telling that, as you were saying, Jen, like Mina wishes she could be more like Lucy, someone who doesn't feel the pressures of society to act a certain way. And I think that Lucy's open mind when it comes to love and sex and rejecting the norms that society places upon them are what make her mind more open to Dracula's like luring powers compared to Mina at first. And I feel like Lucy is completely open about her love for more than one man, but Mina keeps her relationship with Dracula a secret. She views it as shameful. And I had like a lot of like girls that I grew up with when I was like starting to have feelings like that like really definitely made me feel shameful about it. And so like I think that's why I get so mad at Mina in those early scenes where I'm like, stop being so judgmental of your friend. Like, sorry, she's like putting herself out there. Like, you should be there for them. And like kind of she's just, I feel like is very bratty about it a little bit, but she also wants it too. Like you can tell she likes it. I almost feel like it's like she feels like she needs to kind of mirror her more sexually liberated friend as she like continues to kind of go down the path with Dracula. But that's probably again like why I love the character so much is her lack of shame about her desires. And even before the transformation, and despite Lucy being portrayed as like a sexual person, every time she's penetrated, it's against her will. Like from the sex like with the wolf Dracula to Arthur piercing her chest with the stake, she has like no authority over her body and what is done to her. And I also think it's worth noting that the entire time she's under Van Helsing's care, she has like no say in what happens to her. Like her fate is in the hands of men, and it reinforces the belief that like male intervention was like essential for female survival, which kind of like hits the nail on the head, or like stake in the heart.
stake on the heart.
As far as, you know, women having control over their own bodies in regard to medicine. And as we all know, it's still very much happening today in ways that like genuinely turn my stomach. And I think that's like what makes this even more interesting is that the arena where the struggle takes place is in the female body. It's a story about saving Lucy and later Mina. But I will say that this never happens to Mina. You know, like when she gets eventually bitten by Dracula, she's fully consenting to the experience for the most part, I feel like. And it's interesting to me that even though like this isn't a slasher movie, obviously, like Mina is still given the final girl treatment, whereas like you have Lucy who is too sexual and has sex, even though it's not consensual. And so she's like doomed to die. And then like I don't know. I think it's obvious that Lucy's love for three men is, you know, is risque. Yet no one involved has a problem with it. And as the men like kind of carry out this revenge mission, one of them, you know, is killed in the process. So like even in death, Lucy is shown to like cause trouble for the men, while Mina is like portrayed as like a savior for hers. And so I just always really feel bad for this character. I feel like she is meat thrown out, like a steak thrown out for him, and Mina is the hero, whereas Lucy was heroic as well.
Yeah, I feel like I don't think I've had a journey with Lucy. I don't think she is reductive herself, but I feel like the way she is treated is reductive. Yeah. Rachel, what do you think?
I know. I agree with that. I find them both empowering in different ways.
And both reductive in different ways, too.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Yes, exactly. Because with Lucy, I love how she owns her sexuality, how she's open about it, how she understands that in this world that it's not that she's doing this because she knows that, oh, I need a husband and I need a man, and in the world that she lives in to have the life that she wants. And like I think there's power in that, her knowing that like, oh, I'm gonna like see what my options are and I'm gonna pick the man that's like gonna get me what I want. Like there is power in that. However, like is it like a reductive way to think about like, oh, I'm using this to get what I want? And I think that's where I don't appreciate what happens to her, because I feel like it's used against her. And so it's a double-edged sword, which I mean, come on, it's a double-edged sword. How often like, oh, you're asking for it, right? And I feel like there's an element of that in this, like, oh, she deserves it because this is what she was throwing out there. So what did you expect? Obviously, that's awful and disgusting, and there's nothing wrong with her being this like really outwardly sexual being. And so I love the early Lucy. It's just like it's a tragic end for her, and for her to end, this is like, I love the costume, don't get me wrong, but so covered up
to the head, like to the face.
Yeah, everything, and her head separated from her body, right? Like, oh, this, like, okay, your body's down here, your head's up here. Like, we don't need this part, right?
Right.
Like, it literally gets cut off. Like, we don't need this. Like, this is more like kind of what we're interested in.
But I do always feel like she's true to herself. Like, I feel like she's like, you know, like it almost like to say that she like spews blood at the world whenever it's trying to like make her be small or be quiet. Like, I do feel like she's at least the one female character that is not going to go down without a fight. It feels like at certain, I mean, I guess Mina too. They both do, but they're both multifaceted.
And it's
exactly.
Yeah.
It's a trope. I mean, she's got like, oh, her snake dress, like it's very Garden of Eden. I'm Eve, the temptation of Eve, how she's just like just temptatious, seductress, succubus kind of thing, like moving around the party, trying to get whatever man she can. And then on the other hand, like Mina, I do think is a little bit more reserved in her sexuality, but she's discovering herself. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that either. Like people can develop and take their time with certain things. And I feel like I love how that's presented, how she's not against exploring that kind of stuff. She's just trying to figure out like, how do I do this? How do I transition from, you know, girl to woman, from girlfriend to wife? She has this a whole affair with Dracula, who kind of like opens up her eyes and her legs and everything about like what's possible. However, she still chooses to be with Jonathan and is making that choice freely and willingly, and is okay. Like, I appreciate how she doesn't beat herself up over her decision with Dracula, and like, it's like, no, I still want to be with Jonathan. I'm still doing that, but I can still have, you know, he's the bad boy. Like, there's something attractive about him too.
But she does kind of choose him. Like, I think honestly, if he did not die, I do think that she was in full like in his control, like for him. I don't know, like because obviously she goes back and forth and she gets married, but that final scene, like it doesn't feel like she wants to choose Jonathan to me.
Well, and I think there's something to that too,
Mhm.
like feelings for multiple
Yeah,
people, getting things
Yeah.
from
absolutely.
multiple
Yeah.
people. I think she does actually care
Yeah.
about Jonathan. Like she cares about that, and she was willing to be like, okay, I'm not wealthy. He's
Yeah.
not going to be wealthy, but I love him and I want to be with
Right.
him, and that's fine. But then she's also, but like that guy is
Well,
kind of, there's something about
and I
him.
think what's interesting is because there is a class element there. And Mina even mentions, like, Jonathan doesn't want me spending too much time at this house because, and I wonder if there's like an undercurrent of maybe I'll meet a rich guy
Yeah.
who I don't have to be his secretary for.
Exactly.
But then
Security.
she does meet Dracula and he can, like, he is wealthy and powerful and she still does choose Jonathan. And I think, like, the opposites that I see here, and the reason I think I feel so sorry for Lucy, because I agree, she's completely empowered until others start to be able to control her. And that's when she
Yeah.
starts to lose herself. And it's just kind of the story is taking her autonomy away. But I
Right.
feel like the only person in this story that loves Lucy is Mina, you know? Like
Yes.
Mina, and we're going to talk about Mina later, but like it feels like Mina is worth loving and Lucy is a trophy. Lucy is like this gorgeous woman worth protecting, but the one we really care about and the one whose virtue is worth protecting is Mina. And that just always made me feel so sad for Lucy. But I think what I love so much about this is even though they are a little snippy with each other, they always love each other. Like they almost feel like sisters. And there's, you know, they do kiss in the garden.
Yeah.
So, you know, I really
But those
love
types
their
of feelings
relationship.
happen around that time too. It's like
They
I
do.
mean, you know, when you're, it's that feeling of do I want to kiss her? Do I want to be her? You know?
Yeah. And I love that we go there and then just don't ever really acknowledge
Yes.
it. It's just something. And part of me is like, Lucy is just so fucking sensual that how are you
Not,
with
yeah.
her and you don't kiss her,
Yeah.
you know?
It's almost
So-
like
Yeah.
Mina is like the Victorian era manic pixie dream girl, kind of, you know?
Yeah.
Like, because she is the one that is to be chosen. She is the one that is worth all of this for, like, for
Yeah.
dying for. And she's a virgin. And so
Yes.
obviously so is Lucy, but like at first, you know, but it's the final girl thing. It really is like a very stereotypical horror trope within this old
She's
story.
Tatum
Yeah.
and Mina
Yep,
Sydney.
exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's talk about the other reason I love Lucy. Okay, I've said I have a love-hate relationship with this wedding dress because as a wedding dress, it is hideous. This is a collar that is like a satellite dish. It is, I don't know if this was a style at the time. Like when I really look at it, there's bustle. So part of me is like, maybe it's just not finished or something. It's disgusting. And I always...
She said that the costume designer said she was inspired by the frilled lizard.
It does look like
all
the
the costumes
Jurassic
have
Park,
like
Well,
Jurassic Park.
dinosaur.
Well,
Like, even though it's a year
and
later.
I think
Yeah.
for her death, it is perfect. And that's why I can forgive it. I just always, whenever there's a wedding in a movie, I get really excited because I get to see a wedding dress.
Yeah.
And then I saw this one and I was like, what, that thing? It was like a
Yeah.
Pretty in Pink prom dress moment, but it is perfect for the scene in the crypt because, like you said, it like presents her head on a platter, you know, and
Yeah.
it's so stark white. It's like this mix of purity, but like her lips are blood red, and then like you said, she's completely covered. She's like her
and
face
she looks
is
drained
white.
of blood too. Like she's really
Exactly. She's
pale.
lost all of her
Yeah.
vitality. And it's just so visually stunning. Okay, and the thing I wanted to pull from the novel is that she is called the Bloofer Lady. Like there's a rumor, we only see her grab this toddler that she just chucks on
Yeah.
the floor. But in
Yeah.
the novel, for a couple of weeks, there's a rumor of a Bloofer Lady which I think is a thing back then. It was just kind of like a creepy lady.
Is it like a
but she would
folklore
wander
or like a urban
I
legend?
think so.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but she was wandering around town, like luring children away and eating them.
Okay, so like a
Yeah.
La Llorona
Exactly,
sort of,
yeah.
like the lady in white sort of figure.
And I mean, I don't want to critique, like I'm fine with what we have, but I just really liked that part of the novel. It was one of the few things that I was really interested in.
I want more time with that. Yeah, I want a whole movie
Yeah.
on that.
Also, like, what
know.
a like just that whole like this woman, well, sometimes it's really sad, like, oh, they lost
Yeah.
their child, like the lady in white, lost their daughter or whatever. And so they need another one. But yes, just some like childless woman. Like, I
Right.
need a child. And if I don't have one, I'm going to take
Yeah.
yours.
But here, she's not
Ooh, I
trying.
don't
She's
like that.
She
eating
wants
them because she's
sustenance.
just hungry.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, she's
Yeah.
taking them, but for a different reason.
Well, and I
It's
also
like,
think when we think about the brides, because I also want to talk about the brides here, and they're called brides in the novel too. Like Coppola
Oh,
did
yeah.
not invent that. But I think it is also so fitting that Lucy is buried in her wedding dress, or what was supposed to be her wedding dress, because she becomes a bride of Dracula. And then, so there's this, like, she becomes, quote, a bride of Dracula, or Dracula, like, rage kills her because Lucy won't marry him, you know? No, I'm sorry, because Mina won't marry him, or Mina is gone. So he says to Lucy, then I give you life eternal, everlasting love, the power of the storm, and the breasts, and
the
the
breasts.
beasts of the earth. Sorry, Freudian slip. Walk with me to be my loving wife forever. And then I love this juxtaposition when Jonathan and Mina are getting married in this church. And then Dracula and Lucy are getting married with all the blood
Yeah.
and the biting and the kissing. So my question, what does it mean to be a bride of Dracula? And does it sound like a good thing?
So, no. You know when I said I
No.
used to hold the previous button on my remote control when I watched it as a kid?
Uh-huh.
Well, that's because of the brides. And
The bride scene when they're just
it's
creeping up his
it's
pants
so
legs.
good. Like, I'm fairly certain this is like the first like or menage a trois, I had ever seen on screen. And I was like mind blown in more ways than one. But just three of the most beautiful
same.
women put to screen. And my love for them would solidify when I watched The Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman, okay? There's something about a woman with fangs and her boobies that just really
And
does
boobies
it
out.
for me. Yeah.
Yep.
But I did want to say, I guess, so a couple of things that I like. One is like a theory that's like a really popular theory that I actually really like. And the other that I read was that Jonathan actually calls them the Weird Sisters in the book. Yeah,
Oh,
so
that
I
makes
love
sense.
that.
Yeah.
I really like when I read that, I was like, oh, that's so cool. But there is a theory that the blonde vampire is Dracula's wife and the two black-haired ones are their daughters. Since the book, I guess, describes the two dark-haired vampires as having similar appearance to Dracula. And, perhaps when Dracula returned from the grave, his first victims were his family, which is something vampires, I guess, in folklore and mythology tended to do. Like they would go and get their families. And
Check out the Vordelak on Shutter.
oh,
right now.
I've never heard of that, so I will.
Freaky old vampire movie.
That's my shit. Sometimes they should be scary, I think. But Victorian era vampire folklore describes vampirism as some sort of like mysterious curse that would befall families. And the novel was written at the height of the vampire panic. And like the reemergence of the vampire was very closely linked with the spread of tuberculosis, which was also a mysterious curse that would befall, families, and anyone affected would slowly become weak and pale and eventually die. And after their death, like other relatives would suddenly begin to show the same signs. And they would think like the only possible explanation for some was that the deceased, relative had become a vampire after death and was now feasting on their loved ones, which is why they used to have the little bells above the graves. So if someone was in there and they woke up, they could ring their bells. But
Oh God.
it really is.
Nightmare
You can ring my grave bell, exactly. But honestly, I think that adds like so much more weight to their characters and what they've gone through, because it's also like the idea of like the sins of a father kind of passing on to the next generation, and just like the patriarchal like family unit of like you're going down with the dad's ship, and I am going like it also adds like an incest plot line too, which is also interesting to talk about. But yeah, I was like, when I read that, I was like, that's like, it's a pretty popular fan theory. I read it on a couple of different pages. And I liked it. I'm subscribing. I'm hitting subscribe and like to that one because they don't really have
cool.
lore. They have like they don't like, there's like not anything about them aside from what we see in the book. So I like a little bit of, something to add weight to them besides their boobies.
What do you think, Rachel?
I do. I mean, how they're presented here, I like how they look. And I don't mean just because they're beautiful.
Yeah, but they're so
helps.
like they've got like jeweled
They're
headbands.
just
and
cool.
they're just-
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think it kind of ties back into like the book, the the Arabian Nights book that they're looking at, and just this idea that sexuality and pleasure and carnality is something exotic. and sort of like other, it just a direct contrast to the Victorian morality, right?
And save for monsters too, like
Yeah.
it's
Yes, and that it's also, yeah, it's monstrous. It's like something ancient, like, oh no, we're supposed to have been evolved past this, right? We've evolved, we're above these sort of things. Now we're in civilized. No, we're in civilized society. Like that's not something that civilized, cultured people deal with or feel. Like that's not something we're interested in. And so I like this idea that these women are so alluring, and just the way all the of their, just the drapery and how the layers are kind of slowly revealed and they're coming up. And
it's like Jasmine, kind of like it's like the belly dancer Jasmine outfit a
yes,
little bit is what it reminds me of, which was one of my
and
favorites
also
as a
how
kid.
it's, Jonathan's getting lost in it, because you can easily, I mean, why would you ever want to
Right.
leave?
I
Like,
get it.
It's a big old
get
I
edge.
get it, but that sort of thing, like, this is a distraction from all of your societal goals. You don't want to go chase that. You want to get back to Mina and have your, be a lawyer and be successful, and she's a teacher and you live your happy little life. You don't want to spend all day in bed with these three gorgeous
Right.
women. No. In a castle. Why would you want to do that? So I do.
Because he's pure.
Yeah.
He's pure of heart,
And so it makes sense that they would be Dracula's brides, because they're sort of, I mean, they're doing the work,
Right.
right? Like,
They're his
he's out
tools.
doing whatever. They're holding things down, they're holding down the fort.
like they probably had to like clean up and take the trash out like all the time, I'm sure.
I know. Yeah, but ultimately I feel like really they're just Dracula's side chicks,
Yes.
which is
Yeah.
fine. And but he wants to wife Mina. Like
Right.
Mina, he's like, you're my wifey, but these other girls are
Like, did
just,
he ever
they're
truly
like
love them?
side booze.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not.
Well,
I don't
and
think
it's
so.
the difference between being a wife and a bride, I think, too. Like I am obsessed with the fact that they're called brides and that Lucy becomes his bride. And I mean, I say this as a wife. Like, I am married. I got married twice. I was a bride 2 times. Like, I'm not judging, but it's just like it's like this old understanding of what happens when you get married is like you become your husband's, you become a part of his household, and you lose your humanity. And that's why I think, like, we're going to talk about Mina in a minute, but like, it's Lucy and the 3 brides that are his side pieces. Those are not the people he actually cares about. He will amuse himself with them. And then once he's done with them, or once he moves on to someone else, they just live in his like sex pit, and he'll bring him a baby every once
They're
in a while.
basically like his situationship.
Exactly.
Well, he'll give them a baby.
Yeah.
Like, here,
but he
be
won't
happy.
give them a
I've
real
given you a
baby.
child.
Yes,
But it's a
no
baby to
ring,
eat.
no ring on the
Exactly.
finger.
Messed up.
It's just
Take this baby and be happy. Isn't this what you
right.
wanted?
But what I love is that they all like find ways to be their vampire selves too. Like, they seem like they're doing pretty good.
They seem like they enjoy it. I'll be honest
do.
with you.
Wives.
Yeah,
They're
they
sister
are.
brides.
I mean,
Exactly.
coming
Now,
soon
I
to
think what they
TLC, The
don't
Brides of
like.
Dracula.
Exactly. Hey, we'll watch.
I'd watch the fuck out of that.
I think here Lucy, and it is a bit of just storytelling, and I think the 3 brides exist for a little bit to just kind of present this castle as a really sinister but also seductive place, and like this is what
sexy
evil.
vampires.
Exactly.
I mean, come
yeah,
on.
and I mean, this arguably is where some of that comes from. I also want to say Carmilla, because I know that
I've
preceded.
never read it. I really would like to.
I haven't either.
Oh, I thought of Carmela from the Sopranos. I'm like, where are you going with this?
Carmela. She's
it
the mob wife vampire.
It's possible it's Camilla also.
Camilla is right. You're right. Yeah.
Camilla. Okay, yeah. And then also I want to point listeners to another podcast, Murder Made Fiction, where we've been talking about Elizabeth Bathory, who did not inspire this. Like, it's just complicated, but she was an empowered lady killer who was rumored to be a vampire, and I don't think it's a coincidence that Dracula's wife, original love, is called Elisabetta, because that is a very similar name to Elizabeth Bathory.
Is this Kathy Bates's character in Coven? Is it the one New Orleans?
Not in Coven. That's
No, that's
Madame
Madame
LaLaurie.
LaLaurie.
It is
Thank
Lady
you.
Gaga's
LaLaurie.
character in Hotel.
Oh gosh, I'm sure listeners are screaming at me
Oh,
right now.
Oh no.
And that's a very dark
It
story.
is a very
Yes,
dark
they
story.
both-
I'm sure you'll cover that on
Oh yes,
Murder
we
Made
talked
Fiction at
about
some
it.
point.
There's a lot of torture, blood. It's gross. Okay, but I do want to talk about Elisabetta, or Mina Betta, as I was being cheeky. Before
Their
we do
couple's
that,
name.
exactly, their shipper name.
Yes.
Before we do that, let's pay some bills. All right, let's talk about Mina Betta. This is, I think, again, this is where the story loses me a little bit. Like, I'm still in and I still love every second, but I am just captivated and glued to the screen for the first half of this movie. And then I think it just starts to get a little confusing.
Fizzles out.
Exactly. And then it like explodes into snow horror at the end, which I love. So, but I also get a little bit unsure what we're doing with Mina and Elisabetta. Like, is Mina discovering her past life? Is she still Mina? So my question, where does Mina end and Elisabetta begin? And do either become a bride of Dracula, or are they Dracula wives, wifey Dracula?
I mean, I think I've always thought of it like a reincarnation kind of thing. And I think that's how it's sort of presented in the story. Like, she is the reincarnated version of Elisabetta. However, I like the idea too that it's sort of just the duality of this character. Like, Mina's who she thinks she should be.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Maybe
that.
Elisabetta is more like who she wants to be. And at the end, she's, what did you call her? Mina Betta? Like, Mina Betta is maybe the real her.
Yeah.
And I think we kind of see that at the end where she's willing, she has her whole little like convulsion by the fire. And I think that's her like maybe going too far. But then she pulls it back and realizes like, no, I'm okay here. Like, I'm going to be with Jonathan. I'm going to kill him. It's going to be me. It's my choice. I'm going to do this. You three guys stay out here. I got this. And so I kind of feel like at the end, it's her realizing like, I don't have to choose.
Yeah.
Both things can be true. I can be her and I can also be her at the same time. And I think that's what I like about this character is by the end, she's kind of just more comfortable with herself and not feeling like she has to be one or the other.
Yeah.
But I think in the story, there is a little part of her. I don't think that there's a difference, but it's like with twins, right? How sometimes they've had twins, and they get separated, and they're raised by different people.
Yeah.
But however, there's still similarities that can't be explained. Whether it's like some of their life choices or medical stuff, you can't explain it, and it makes no sense. But it's true, and so it's kind of the same thing here. I think.
I'm actually quite the sucker for the doppelgangers through time trope. A movie I had on heavy rotation as a kid was the Eddie Murphy Haunted Mansion that has the exact same plot line, although the antagonist is a ghost, not a vampire, but the sentiment remains. Like, it's like his wife, like the ghost of the Haunted Mansion, sees like an ad for their real estate agency, and she is obviously the reincarnation of his wife, so that he draws them over to the Haunted Mansion. I'm sure Coppola would probably die knowing I compared his gothic masterpiece to Rob Minkoff's 2003 Haunted Mansion, director of Stuart Little, but hey, I calls him as I sees him.
Wait, he did Lion King too, right?
He's a dual director of Lion King. He is not the sole director of Lion King. Okay. And he also did Stuart Little too. So big filmography for Mr. Rob Minkoff.
Cash them checks.
Yes, not sponsored by the Haunted Mansion, but I wish we were specifically the Eddie Murphy one.
That would be fun.
I love it.
Hey, big Haunted Mansion, if you're listening.
It is so, it's such a bad, I have made Mike watch that movie so many fucking times, but I think you could make the argument that she is in fact his resurrected wife, like mostly just due to like how drawn she is to him, almost like it's like encoded in her DNA. To quote Twilight, they are each other's own personal brand of heroin. Like a feeling you kind of feel in your bones. It's, fate, like that you don't really have any control over it. Although
pheromones.
Yes, but on the other end, you could make the argument that, he's kind of willing this into fruition. Like, it's his, like, this is what he wants, and he's even when he goes, see me, it's like, are you asking her to see you and you want it to be a genuine thing, or are you like using your powers to make her see you?
Or is he just giving her the attention that usually goes to Lucy, and she's not used to it, so she's like, wait, you're talking to me? But people normally are talking to her.
You talking to me? You
see me? You talking to me?
Nobody else here, so
gosh. But I do think that's more in line with the book, like the original source material, because there is no romantic subplot between the two, and this was an added plot line, like, or more accurately, I would would say like added plot of the whole movie, not just really like a plot line. Like it really does change the direction of the film. But I guess in the book, like Mina's relationship with Dracula is more about like a fight against evil. She's like the secretary, like basically she's like writing the story, and it's all comes from like a desire to protect Jonathan, which frankly I just don't find nearly as interesting because, you know, as I said, bad guy lover, so I prefer this change, which is so funny because like I was totally rooting for Nicholas Hoult and Nosferatu, but like with Keanu, I'm like, leave her alone, get a job, like just go away, let her have her forbidden romance. Because I really do hate when Jonathan comes back. Because the minute like Mina gets a letter confirming that he's alive, she reverts to like her old self, like this like Titan controlled character, and kind of abandons her newly found freeness. I feel like at like that first sign of trouble, and goes back to a life of like conforming to these expected standards. So I sort of see this change as a positive one because it allows more of like a more active role in the events of like the latter half of the story and gives her more sexual expression that she was denied in the novel from what it seems, which I have a little bit more to say on in our next section. But yeah.
Well, let's talk about Mina. Before we do, I want to just say real quick, that show, the second season of Something, is actually called Rise of Empires, Ottoman, and the second season is Mehmed versus Vlad, so which is about Vlad the Impaler fighting the Turks. So that battle at the beginning, that whole season is about it. It's good. Like it's cheesy reenactments with no-name actors, but it's fun. Also, the one about the czars is super hot and very horny, so that's fun too.
All right.
Jen says check it out.
Exactly. If you're just looking for
Hot
some time to waste on Netflix, you know, you could do worse. Okay, so let's talk about Mina. Mina says, Lucy, really, you shouldn't talk about my fiance. My fiance. Quincy just snuck into the mic for a minute. But she said, you shouldn't talk about my fiance in such a way. There's more to marriage than carnal pleasure. And then Mina, I feel confused and lost, perhaps. Though I try to be good, I am bad. Perhaps I am a bad, inconstant woman. Okay, and then here's the thing. Dracula says to Mina, I love you too much to condemn you. So to me, Mina is worth more to him. I think it's what we were talking about with Lucy. And it does feel like the dark hair thing. Like she is the constant. She is the one to love. She's the one you take home to mother, whereas Lucy is the one you have fun with in the bar, you know?
It's like that. What is that? The Madonna?
Madonna whore.
Like the Madonna
Yes, it is exactly
It's
that.
kind of that idea. Like, I love you too much to do this to you. I'll do that to her.
It's basically like Elvis, like never wanting to fuck Priscilla after, you know, like they like consummated the marriage because it's like now you are not this pure thing that you were.
Yeah.
It's
Well, that's what's so frustrating, right? Like I'm gonna condemn you by doing this to you, even though you want it and we're good. And it's consensual, yes, but like I'm going to ruin you, and it's like, okay, that's not how this works.
Well, and also like I get to choose, you know, if I want to be ruined, you know, because I don't know.
I will say, despite you know, despite that, he does present her with the choice. Like,
that's
so
true.
If he really wanted to not give her a choice in any way, shape, or form, it wouldn't be like I can't let you do this. It would be like, suck my blood now, bitch.
Right.
Right.
But as you mentioned, Rachel, he backs off a little too late, and he backs off once he has established that mind control, once she has drank his blood, you know.
As JoJo once said, it's just too little too late.
I love that song so much.
A fucking banger. So if we can play that in the episode without copyright infringement, that would be incredible.
Just a few seconds.
Just a wee second.
Shout out to JoJo there, you know?
Yes.
Okay, so my question, is Mina a lady killer? Because and here's the interesting reversal, because Arthur kills Lucy. And I think I first clocked this by reading Salem's Lot when Ben is saying, as her husband, it's not Ben, it's Matt. Matt is saying, Ben, as Susan's husband, you have to be the one to kill her. And that is inspired by Arthur being the one to kill Lucy. And Mina is the one who has to kill Dracula. And her husband even says, our work is done, now it's her turn. So is Mina a lady killer?
Every time you've said Arthur, I keep thinking of Arthur the Aardvark. So now I want like a Dracula, like
I'll
Arthur
say Carrie Elways.
Yeah, no, but it's just like every time I'm like, oh, are we talking the Aardvark?
He's too hot to be an Arthur, also.
Yes.
You know.
But she deals the final blow, and you know, without the changes Coppola made to her character, this would not be the case. She is not present in the final battle of the book, if you could even call it a battle, because it's really just like it's just them, the men going in and stabbing him. Like it's kind of lackluster from what I read. She's not present during the death at all. And I read that in the book, like sexual violence is sort of used as a tool of controlling the women. I read a critic like compare Dracula's attack of Mina halfway through the novel as like a pseudo rape, which sets her role as being submissive to the men around her. And while like the first half of the novel saw Mina as the creator of plans and her group's mission to defeat Dracula, that like metaphorical sexual attack sort of, I guess, like it reinforces Victorian gender roles and depicts her more as that damsel to be protected. So I think Coppola sort of, takes that idea and flips it on its head and addresses this plot point by, portraying the scene with Mina as a willing participant in the act, as willing as you could be if you don't think he's using his powers. So unlike the novel, her sexual and romantic expressions are shown as both like a defiance of Victorian gender expectation as well as like a form of her taking some power, I think. Because not only does Mina like utilize her sexual prowess to seduce and stun Van Helsing, a scene that we can all agree we all hate, as he races to destroy the castle, but her love for Dracula literally gives her the ability to like summon a storm to block the sun. And I think she's given a voice in this film that it seems that she doesn't really have in the novel. And that's just from what I've read. I know I haven't read the book, like all of it, so maybe I would feel differently, but just from what I gathered online. So I really ought to say, like, thank you, Coppola, for giving me like the fan fiction of my dreams, basically. Like he really like took a source material and was like, you know what? No, this one's for the girls.
Yeah. Oh, well, now I'm going to sing Shania Twain.
Yeah.
I would think so. Maybe it's safe to say, like, yes, Mina's a lady killer, but maybe even more importantly, it seems like she's a little bit of a patriarchy killer.
Yes, absolutely.
Like she's
Elaborate,
literally,
please.
just the idea about she's making this choice. She's killing this really powerful man. Like, I don't need you and I don't necessarily want you. Like, I'm good. And kind of completing her transformation from the woman, like you said, like, I try to be good, but I'm bad. Perhaps I'm a bad, inconstant woman. And I think she's realizing, like, no, I'm not. I'm neither. Like, maybe I'm not good or bad. I just am who I am.
Because no one is, or we all are, like good
That's
and
being
bad.
human. Yeah.
Yes. And making her a lady killer, I think, just gives more weight to her character. Like,
I think so too.
She's not doing it out of fear; she's doing it out of love.
Well, and she doesn't need, like, the men are outside.
Yeah.
She's like, I got this. Like, she's
and they use
fully
her as
capable.
bait, and she's still the one that enacts it. And like, I guess, unfortunately, her character in the novel, kind of ends exactly as you would expect from a 19th century woman. She just kind of ends as a mother and a wife. However, Stoker also tells the readers, I guess, at the end that one day Mina and Jonathan's son may read their journals and letters and know what a brave and like gallant woman his mother is. But while she might not have like complete freedom in her actions in Stoker's novel, she is at least in control of the way her story is told. So I will give him that. But like I said, like this decision is up to her. And I think that kind of makes it feel even more like a true and through feminist film. And it wasn't like that.
Well, and there is some compassion too. Like, she's releasing Dracula. It's not just that like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, right? Like, she's doing this because, like, I know you need this and I care about you and you're gonna be better. Like, stop. Like, you don't have to be this
a monster.
I know this is
and
like,
she gives him a peaceful death too.
Well, like, you don't have to be this like toxic tough guy and like do all, like, you can be something else. Like, it's okay. Don't be scared. Like, you can evolve and maybe evolution for this character is dying, is actually just finally being at rest and being at peace and like let it go.
Although, he
Like,
goes
it's
through
okay.
like 6 different ages there at the end. But
True.
Yeah. So I love that she's doing, like, yes, she's killing him and finally kind of coming into her own, but killing out of love, killing out of
Killing in the
compassion.
name of.
Yes.
Yeah.
She says,
Killing in the
"Don't
name
do what
of
you tell me."
eternal love
Yes.
and understanding.
And I love that it is kind of a decisive kill. Like, she cuts his head off, and I love the way this movie ends because it's so romantic. It's so like poignant. And we've got that stained glass, but she like lops his head off and it's so like immediate. Like, she does the thing,
And the portrait on top. It's like
Yes,
the Sistine
it's
Chapel.
so
It's just
sweet.
so beautiful. There's
It reminds
something
me of
so like
Flatliners,
Romeo
honestly.
and Juliet. Like I've never seen that.
Oh, so
I gotta watch that one.
I love
But
it.
yeah,
And it doesn't take away from the love that they
Right.
had. Like
yes,
that
it's a
still
different
exists,
love.
and that's fine. But we're moving on.
Okay.
That's going to be there forever, just in the glass until, I mean, it shatters.
Right.
But it doesn't take away from that love story. She's just moving on to the next.
It's like Tom Cruise and Mission Impossible with his love with Michelle Moynihan's character. Still loves his dead wife, but he's definitely gonna, have a couple side chicks along the way that maybe mean just as much to him,
Yeah, exactly.
but differently.
Well, okay, so there is, when I got into the little tiff with the Mina Defender on Blue Sky, they pointed me
Mina
to
Defender.
I know. They were very, like, book Mina Defender, too. And part
Oh,
of me was
wow.
like, are you thinking about Winona Ryder? Like, is that in your head? But they were talking about Mina as Frodo, like
Oh,
carrying,
like the Dracula's castle is Mordor. Like,
yeah, like
Lucy
going
is
into
Samwise
the fire
Gamgee.
and killing and
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to dismiss that. I have not read the paper yet, but I thought it was interesting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And King talks about Dracula and Lord of the Rings as the kind of quartet, that the inspiration. But what I like about this comparison is that Mina is the heart of it. Mina is the one who does the hard thing, and kills the D. She decides she doesn't need that D. And it's good. It's real good for her. Let's talk about that in our next category. Good for her.
Claiming she could take it no more, the young mother released the emergency brake, allowing her car to roll backwards into the nearby lake.
Good for her.
In which we look straight into the camera and we say, yes, we know murder is bad, even
it
if they've
feels so
crossed
good.
oceans of time, even if he's a hot Wizard of Oz looking hot vampire with some red eyes and a big D. Killing is bad. Okay, so is this a feminist story?
Yes.
Yeah. I think so.
I think, yeah. I do think that there's elements of it. I think it's there. I think that reading is there. Clearly, I feel like I am like digging a little bit in some of these arguments, but I think that's cool. I think I like being able to get that out of this story. Again, not the book. Haven't read
that's
it.
the thing.
Can't vouch for that at all. But I think that this is a really interesting reapproach and I feel like it's self-aware. And so I would feel differently if maybe I felt like Coppola was like telling me that like was preaching like, oh no, if you do this, like if you're Lucy, like you're gonna end up dead in a coffin because you are a loose woman.
It's like accidental feminism kind of.
Yeah, so I don't know if that was Coppola's intent. However, or maybe it was more just a product of the time of when it came out, or the fact that it's Winona Ryder and like in this kind of role and sort of putting, projecting some of her celebrity image onto the character. But I feel like how it's presented here, I feel good about it. I feel good about the story ultimately when I leave it. So I'm going to say yes. I think it is a positive feminist story.
Well, and I think it was, in the middle of third wave feminism. And I'm looking up now when Reality Bites came out, because that was the first thing I think I ever saw Winona Ryder in. And I still love that movie so much. But
Mike loves that one too. I've only seen it once, but I really liked it when we
so
watched it.
good.
Well, and I think like the whole reason she kind of took this role is because she owed Coppola one, because she backed out of Godfather 3 and she was kind of going through a rough time and like stepped away for a while. And then I can't remember exactly if that was like the time.
No, she was like a big producer.
caught
Like,
stealing at
oh
the
no, that's
time?
later. That's around
Okay, that's
Mr.
later.
Deeds time. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, I was like, I feel like that was much later. But I do know this. She came back after like stepping away for a while from like exhaustion, and then came back into this role and sort of, it was like her reintroduction. Like, okay, I'm doing this again. I owed you this role and I'm going to give it my all and kind of come back and start over a little bit, which I think is great. And so I do think there's some of that element into her performance and what I'm reading into it.
I think so too.
Still works.
And I was just looking, Reality Bites was after this, but I'm also thinking about Heathers and Edward Scissorhands and Beetlejuice.
Yes.
So she's been around.
She
like, at
has.
this point.
Well, and she carries this kind of spunky alternative weight. And here she is, like just humanizing a Victorian character, I think. And I think that's what I really like. And there's part of me that kind of bristles at that because I love Lydia Dietz and I love her like spiky hair and her like, I don't know, alternative spirit. And I'm not going to play by your rules, mom, you know. And here she is wanting to be Jonathan's secretary. But I do think like this version of the story, I don't want to speak to the novel either because it's been too long since I've read it. Also, I didn't pay attention for half of it. But this, I feel like there's just so much more to Lucy and Mina. It does feel like 90s feminism.
Yeah.
But I think we are exploring these characters and we are treating them like human beings without vilifying them, even though we are literally vilifying one of them, you know?
Well, I wanted to use this section to talk about something I learned. Well, I was doing research, of course, that concerns
Nerd.
I know, God, lame. But it concerns like women and our love for the quote unquote monster that I found. This is an incredible article on Medium titled Reclaiming the Female Horror Tradition by, and I hope I do not butcher this, Annalena Ostrich, I think. But she wrote that the screenwriter mixed elements from different genres trying to target cinema goers beyond the core horror audience that at the time was perceived as predominantly male, meaning they put an emphasis on emotional relationships in hopes that this would attract an untapped female audience and to them was a quote commercial opportunity. But in reality, they merely acknowledged a female horror audience that was already there but had been ignored for decades, as Gothic horror has always had a strong female influence and therefore many feminine aspects. The term female Gothic was coined in regards to 18th and 19th century women novelists and their works. I would say like Jane Austen, like Charlotte Bronte, that type of thing, establishing that one of the typical features of the female Gothic genre is a female protagonist who is a victim and heroine at the same time. This is a fitting description of the character of Mina, who on the one hand is compelled by Dracula and on the other compels him. And Coppola's version of the vampire narrative invokes empathy for and even identification with the monster, as well as a fascination with monstrosity, which is an important factor in the continuing appeal of horror for women. However, don't mistake this feminine viewing strategy to be emasculating or weak. Instead, it is merely different from the strategies of someone who is unfamiliar with the position of the oppressed in a system of patriarchal repression. This gender disparity isn't new, but has already been identified within the literary genre of Gothic fiction, where distinctions have been made between male and female Gothic tradition. This disparity stems from the very different ways that men and women experience fear. Men tend to fear the other, whereas women fear the terror of the familiar, the routine brutality and injustice of the patriarchal family, conventional religion, and classist social structures. In the tradition of the female Gothic, Bram Stoker's Dracula resonates strongly with this type of fear, which has been described as terror rather than horror. So basically, this film was made and changed from the source material to bring in a female audience by mixing horror and romance. And in doing so, it attempted to kind of tear down the walls about what we as an audience think of the horror genre. And I personally think it succeeded in doing that. And I think it's pretty safe to say that horror literature has sort of widely been accepted as appealing across the sex and ages ranges, you know, especially with the rise of Bookstagram and Book Talk. But horror films, on the other hand, up until more recently, their marketing has long been geared towards, you know, an adolescent male audience. So to hear that this was made with women in mind and the content we statistically enjoy really solidified like my stance on it being a feminist film. And like I said, you know, a couple minutes ago, like it might have been accidental. I think it probably was. Unfortunately, the idea of making more money, but you know, it's still women love this movie and men do too. I'm not saying that they don't, but like this does feel catered to the female gaze, despite there being such sexual, you know, and like female nudity that you would think is for men. But like I think it's not like overly gratuitous to me, which I guess is saying something since there's like full blown sex scenes and, you know, it's a hard R. But yeah, I just thought that was really interesting when I read it.
The nudity almost feels like part of the costuming. Too,
yes, exactly.
You know?
It doesn't feel porny, you know.
Yeah.
That's
No.
although
And the thing is like, well, yeah. Oh,
I mean,
but also,
yes, I can't imagine how many guys jerked it, like,
Right.
you know, to that scene. But
but what I think I appreciate too is that yes, especially in the system and the world that this movie's made, or not made, but you know, the fictional world that it exists in. Obviously, these men have all the power. But you know that phrase where it's like the men are the head and like the wife is the neck, like
Yeah.
moving the head in the
Yes. And the
direction
arms
kind of
and the
thing.
legs.
Yeah, but that's what it feels like because the women are directing the story. They're moving the story. They're in charge of the story. Dracula is this all-powerful creature that defying death and is raging at God and challenging all this stuff. But ultimately, it comes down to Mina. Like Mina is his destiny and his downfall and his entire motivation for everything that he's been doing. Like she has all the power, even though it doesn't really seem like it. And same thing even with Lucy. These three guys, a doctor, a hot cowboy,
I know.
and a
And like a rich
dude.
aristocrat. Yeah.
trust fund
Yeah.
dude, right? Like they have all the power, whether it's, riding across the plains, manifest destinying everything, colonizing the new world, or
I would never think that like dating in the Victorian era looks easier than it is now.
I know.
Just based on
Yeah.
Lucy's experience.
yeah, but they're all fawning over her,
Yes.
and ultimately, even after she's like, they don't fight over her either. Like
They're not angry at her either.
they're not fighting over her. They're not calling her names. They're not like putting it on her to decide. Like they're all still there supporting, doing whatever she wants. And even after she's gone, they're in this because of her connection to Mina and everybody else. And they're along for literally the ride for the rest
They
of it.
work together to save her. Like most men, I'm sorry, would be jealous and they would be mad at her for
Yeah.
leading them all along. Like even the scene where like he comes in, the doctor, and like she asks him to kiss him. Like they're all there and like he does it. Like it doesn't feel like if it almost feels like the perfect polyamorous couple, like or like
Totally.
with her at the center. Like we always see the men that have the sister wives, but they look like brother husbands.
Well, and once she's
Yeah,
dead,
and Mina and
they
Lucy,
still carry on.
and Mina and Lucy are never pitted against each other ever.
And I love that. I love that too.
Like they're never fighting over things. It's never you should be more like me or I should be more
Yes.
like you. It's just a conversation they're having. We're different. Maybe I do want to be more like that. Maybe I want to be less like that. Just kind of figuring out who you are. But
And any judgmental thoughts she's kind of has to herself a little. Like she doesn't really say them to Lucy. So
Or it's like teasing,
No.
It's
Yes,
like, oh,
yes.
Lucy, you're always thinking of carnal desire.
it's just my childhood trauma that gets mad at that. 'Cause I'll just
Oh,
never
no, I
say
know
it.
what you mean.
I
But
had a
she's like,
girl,
oh,
like,
Mina,
get
you're
so-
always typing,
Yes,
Oh, totally.
It's just
Yeah.
other girls can be mean about that kind of thing.
Yes,
So
they sure
been
can.
Yeah.
there.
So I do feel like it's got kind of well, like you were talking about, like being appealing to women. I think that's just something maybe a lot of female identifying people like they can relate
Yeah.
to and like pick up
Yeah.
on that maybe isn't like quite so intentional, but it's there. And I just appreciate that about this. Like all of those things. Like I haven't even thought about some of those things not being there.
Yeah.
But now that we're talking about it, it's like, oh yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
And that's really
Yeah.
It really
like
is.
maybe that's why I am attracted to these two female characters, even though they are reductive in some ways, but I still like watching them and I like being in this
Yes.
world and don't find it like uncomfortable or like, oh, that's so gross. Because it's
Right,
not.
exactly.
It's cool.
Well, and it's imperfect feminism, and it's very
Yes.
90s feminism, I think, too. Like aside from this kiss, we're not really. It's very heteronormative, you know. And I think 90s feminism was Riot Girl. It was, can we be girly and still be strong? And I think I'm thinking about Winona Ryder, and I mentioned Reality Bites, and she's got these two iconic red looks for me. I don't know if everyone else would think they're iconic, but she's got this red dress where she's kissing Dracula. She's being transgressive because she's supposed to be marrying Jonathan. She's supposed to be pining away and learning how to be his secretary, and she's having an affair, and it's a very romantic and gothic and gorgeous affair, and she's wearing this low-cut dress, and her hair is down like Lucy's hair. And then I think about Reality Bites, and there are so many scenes I love in that, but the one that I love the most, and I think about this every time I go to the gas station, is when she's taken her dad's gas card and she's taking everybody's cash and using that card to buy their gas so that she can make
A
money
woman in
off of it.
STEM. Like
Exactly.
we love women in male fields.
And so I just think, but she's wearing this red muscle tee and these like kind of loose jeans, and she's got her cute short pixie cut. And so I just think it's these two different types of transgressions as a woman, but still looking very cute, very gorgeous, very feminine, and so
Why not both, as we've said
Exactly.
also.
And I think what I love about this movie is it really asks us, can we be beautiful and strong at the same time? And the men, they do a lot, but the women are the heart of this story, and the men are falling all over themselves for these women, and they are everyone's downfall. You know, like Quincy dies, he wasn't even going to get to marry her.
Yeah, I know, fucking idiot.
I know, exactly.
Couldn't even make it out alive of the Dracula movie.
Exactly. It's Texas, you know. Sorry, my friends from Texas are going to get mad at me.
Yeah.
That big knife didn't do
No,
exactly.
any good, did it?
Might have been hard, but it didn't penetrate.
Like,
You don't bring a knife to a vampire
Ain't
fight.
that the twoof?
I do love at the end where it's like all these men, they're fighting with all their weapons, and then Mina's over here with her blue flames, and I'm like, well, she's obviously the one with the power here, okay? And then Van Helsing is just like
Power of the
screaming
babe.
Dracula at the sky.
What babe?
The babe
Thanks
with
for
the
picking
power.
up on that.
Babe with the blue flame.
Well, let's ask if this is good for her. I'm going to go ahead and say yes because of what I just said. I do think it's a feminist story, and I think sometimes imperfect feminism is better
That's
because
like be the title of my memoir.
for
Imperfect
real.
Feminism. Jesus.
because
Well, it's more relatable.
Yes.
well, and the idea. I always say this: feminism.
It's like me with my word earlier.
I know.
Just to tell up.
Feminism is not women being in charge of everything. It's not women dominating men, even though that can be part of it, and that sounds pretty cool sometimes. But it is women being human beings, women being
Equality.
flawed.
That's all we've ever wanted.
And that's what I think we get here. And I think imperfect feminism where I can still kind of see steps, but want to push further, and I can still view Lucy as a tragic figure. And kind of Mina as a tragic figure too, but they are both still like very strong. The thing I love about Lucy is she is not beholden to Dracula. She's going out and killing toddlers at night because that's what she wants to do. You know, that's her vampire life until the men come and fuck it all up. But
There's no right way to live a vampiric lifestyle, you know, right or wrong.
Yeah, you wear your white dress and somebody's getting those
You
stains
don't
out.
all have to
but-
be like the Cullens and eat deer and shit. Like,
Exactly. Some people can eat toddlers. So
babies.
I think it is good for her, for me.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah, it is. Like, I can see how, like, the ending might be too romantic and its overtones
Oh,
to
no,
some,
but
but
No.
but to me, I see like a female character that takes action into her own hands and breaks the stereotype of the woman as a victim again. And like, I really do think that this movie doesn't just belong to the horror genre. It belongs to the women who found strength in it. And most importantly, it reminds us of the importance of the horror that's consumed, you know, by female identifying people. And that's always going to be good for her horror for me. Like, again, the fact that they like changed all of these things just to appeal to like, you know, a female audience is like, fuck yes, I love that. Like, you took a boy thing and you were like, we don't want it to just be a boy thing. Like, it doesn't need to just be gendered. Like, anyone can enjoy this. Let's put a little bit of love and romance in there for the gals. Not to say the men can't enjoy that too, but it really does change the story. It changed, like I don't know. I think it makes her a stronger character, and I think there are some people who would argue against that, and I completely understand.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of love, you know, never dying. I love that.
Well, and I think Jonathan is feminized in this too. You know, he
Yes.
becomes a damsel in distress, you know, and so it is
helpless.
playing. Yeah. Rachel, what do you think?
But I also I love the idea that it's like, okay, well, what happens next?
Yeah.
Like, okay, Dracula's dead.
How do you go back
Okay,
to
so
like
now her-
brunch? You're like, okay,
Exactly.
so dinner
Well-
tonight at 6.
Well, and that's what I kind of love. Like, Jonathan knows about her and Dracula, like knows about this affair or whatever. And I kind of love thinking about the next step where it's like, okay, they're married and they're gonna go back, but their life isn't going to be quite the same. Probably more equal. She's also probably going to teach him some pretty cool
Well,
stuff.
yeah, she learned
Yes.
how to do stuff. Also,
She's a little bit more experienced now, and
He is too.
he's gonna like, and they're gonna be fine. And he's like, it seems like from the character that we're presented, like he's accepting of that. And like, okay, she had an affair and had this whole thing with
With a
an
creature,
ancient
you know.
vampire.
Yeah.
But like that's over and that's fine. And I forgive her. And it doesn't like we still love each other and we can work through this. And I know that's projecting a lot, but
I love that's all well and good, but there's no way I could go back to my fucking 9-to-5 job or like go back to my normal life after just like the most romantic, you know, like how do you forget that? Like for the rest of your life, if I'm Jonathan, I'm like, is she thinking of me or is she
is
thinking
my
of
son
Dracula?
actually
Yeah.
Dracula?
Yes, like how do we know?
know?
How do you know? Like is
And
she
for
sad?
Mina,
Like,
she's like, you're not even going to cross oceans of time for me. Okay?
I know.
oh,
God.
Can you imagine?
All you did was like, survive falling out of a window
Right.
and like God.
I guess they're equal though. It's like, okay, she's like, I had one vampire, you had three, young man. So
Three.
And they openly
exactly.
talk about it. I love the scene where Van Helsing's like, so, like, did you fuck them? Like,
Hey, honest communication is
yes,
what
and she's
makes
just
a
sitting
marriage
there,
work.
like,
Exactly.
yeah, did you? Like, it's
Yeah.
cool. Like,
uh-huh.
because I mean, obviously, vampirism is so like STD adjacent too, and they do add that element to this of like, hey, are you gonna give whatever you got to your bride? Like, and is she gonna give whatever she got to you?
Right. And you both might die.
And hey, the more vampires all around, keep them popping, keep them
Exactly. I would die for all of them, but would
Yes.
we die for this movie? Let's find out in our next category, Die For Me.
Look at her. I would die for her. I would kill for her. Either way, what bliss.
All right, Rachel, are you going to die for this movie?
Oh my God. All the time. I would die. I would die for this across
I was going to say I
oceans
would
of
die
time.
oceans of
Again and again.
oceans of die for this movie.
This movie is just such a treat. It's like you said, a feast for all of the senses. I love it. It's so fun to watch, and I get lost in these characters and the performances. Oldman is, I mean, Jesus, Oldman is just doing all the work here, really carrying, as far as like performances go, he's carrying this movie completely on his back. So I love this movie, and I actually do really, I've always liked Mina and Lucy, but I love them even more after this conversation. So I think I
Yeah.
appreciate them more and these characters and what we're presented and what kind of that means in this world, and being able to really sort of suss out some of these thoughts, which have been there and lingering and percolating, but haven't really been able to talk about. So thank you for this. This was great. I absolutely love this movie and would always die for it. And we'll watch it anytime, anywhere, any place, anytime.
Sammy, what do you think? You're going to die?
Just as Mina would die for Dracula, I would die for her. And honestly, all the women in this film, like, I'm so dead that you don't need to put a bell on my grave because my bitch ass is not waking up. But yeah, I was really stoked when I saw this. Like, I was like not expecting this one, because what's been so fun about having this like round table of guests is going like, hey, which movie do you like? Like, we're not going to pick it. We want to talk about a movie that you love, and getting to see that side of people is just really fun. It's fun for me. It's I love talking to people about the things that they're passionate about the things that they love, and it's even better when I too love it. So this is, I mean, we've been banger after banger, and I mean, last week was a movie I had not seen, but the last three that we have done have just been really rewarding for me. Enjoyable in the living room too, so or in the Bat Cave or Vamp Cave, the Drac Cave. But yeah, I'm dying. I'm dead. I'm fucking just so dead. I'm dead as a doornail.
But in the best way.
Yes.
Yes. I'm absolutely going to die for this. And I don't know if I would have died for Mina before this conversation, but I think I will now.
Honestly, same. Yeah. It really helped me to die for her. To walk the plank, to walk into that like creek or whatever, the river that's 1,000,000 miles down.
Oh yeah. I do love just the way, like, there's just so many moments that I would die for here, like the way she just seems to fall, but it doesn't feel real. She almost feels like a doll that's falling, and I mean that's probably because it's not real, but like it's
it
so
feels
cool.
real because they did all practical effects. Like the scene with the brides and the little menage a trois scene is when like they do it almost looks like stop motion, and they like reverse it and they walk backwards, but they're on top of each other. It's so unsettling looking. Like it genuinely like jarred me. I was like, oh God, I forgot about that. That like really creeped me out, which is a lot like the crawling on the walls, except the Simpsons didn't do anything with the brides, so it didn't ruin it for me.
Right.
Here's the thing I didn't even think about. Sorry, I have to say, because I'm not going to say this any other time. The fact that Elisabetta, without Dracula, before he was Dracula, she thought he was dead and was like, well, I can't live. I can't live in this world without him, without my husband. So she kills herself, right? But here we have Mina evolved
Yeah.
She's like, I don't need you. I'm letting you go.
Mm-hmm.
Literally putting a stake in this, and I can exist on my own. See, Mina,
Exactly.
all right.
You know what,
There is something
Mina?
to
She
Mina.
rules. Yeah.
She
Okay.
does.
Yep, justice
All
for
right.
Mina.
Man,
Yeah.
justice for Mina shirts all around. Yeah.
Yes. You win, Blue Sky Mina
You
Defender.
won this time. Yeah. Yes.
You won this round.
The Mina
You won this
Defender. It's like a superhero. Like,
I know.
Never fear, the Mina Defender is here.
And I think I would die for everyone. I love this movie so much. It's just gorgeous. And I think even like Carrie always is in this movie. I love him so much, but there's so much going on that is gorgeous and interesting that I forget, you know?
Yes.
And it's just, I would die for all of the costumes, even that wedding dress that sticks in my craw a little bit, but it's just every moment is stunning. And I think we have two really strong female characters here, even though we've talked a lot about where, like, just how they're complicated, you know? And I love it so much. And
They're messy.
They're messy, but
We love
I
messy
love
women.
mess. I love
know.
mess.
Yeah. And vampires should be a little bit messy. If
it's
you're
true.
not
Comes
getting
with the
messy, you're not
territory.
doing vampire right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes. Hell yeah.
And on that note, let's wrap up with what's coming next.
Unlock the next configuration. And then the last. No. I've done enough. Enough is a myth.
If you want to follow the show, you can do that on Twitter at TheLadyKPod and on Instagram and Blue Sky at TheLadyKillersPod. Rachel, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank
it's always
you.
a delight to have you with us.
Thank you for having me.
Where can we find you and what do you have coming up?
You can find me over on Instagram at the Vinyl Girl, GRRRL, and over on Halloweenies. I mean, if you are feeling the romantic vibes, come on over to Halloweenies. We've been talking about Phantom of the Opera all month over there.
Yes.
And I mean, I had never really experienced the original 1925 Phantom of the Opera, but it would pair with this.
I agree. I just watched it my first time too.
I loved it. And also it's like a creepier romantic. It's not quite as romantic, but the vibes are there. The romantic language and all of that, the romantic
The monster,
look and
you know.
vibe. Yeah, the monster. So yeah, all things Phantom over on Halloweenies this month. So go check that out.
And you can find me at Jim Ferratu. You can find me co-hosting the Losers Club. I just talked about Never Flinch, King's new novel for 3 hours last night. So that's
Damn.
coming.
Oh my God.
I know. It was
Holy
a
shit.
fulsome conversation.
That's a lot of Holly.
It is a
Yeah.
lot, but surprisingly not as much Holly as you think it's going to be. It's interesting. And then you can find me co-hosting the Girls on the Boys with Rachel, and we are about to start talking about another hot blonde, although with his brown hair. We're going to be watching Banshee. And then you can find me co-hosting the Murder Made Fiction podcast, and we just finished a whole month on Elizabeth Bathory. So please check that out if you liked this episode, because we talk a lot about the real story or what we think the real story is, and then a lot of really out there texts like Hostel Part 2, which was a first watch for me, and I liked it a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Yeah, it's the better of the torture porn.
I think so
movies.
too. Yeah, I
Yes.
liked it. And then and we're about to start talking about Dr. Death. So medical horror by Joshua Jackson.
Not to be confused with Dr. Diggles.
Or Dr. Boat Doctor.
Not to be confused with
Yeah.
Dr. Diggles.
And Sammy, where can listeners find you?
As always, you guys can find me at SRK Doll on Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram, and I run the Lady Killers and the Losers Club socials, so you guys can always find me on there. I have had the honor of doing the last 2 episodes of the Stacks over on the Losers Club. I'm going to be on the next one as well. I've been having a lot of fun doing that with Randall and the rest of the crew, but you can always catch me with talking books over there as well. And next week, let's hear what we got coming up, because we have a returning face.
We do have a returning face. Before we reveal that, if you want to leave us a quick rate and review, please do on Apple Podcasts. It really helps people find the pod and it makes us feel good. Thank you so much for spending time with us, listeners. We would cross oceans of time for you. And Sammy just alluded to the fact that we have a returning guest for next week. Rachel, do
you guys know her?
this person? And what are we watching?
I just realized it. I was like, oh, damn, Rachel's coming back
Yeah.
next week.
It is me. I am her. It is I, the returning
I am
guest.
she.
I am she.
that very guest.
And wait, so I can
Yeah,
what
you
we're
can say it
talking
if you want
about?
to. Yeah.
Ooh, we started the pod talking about
Yes,
it, but
we
now I'm
did.
ending the pod talking about it because we're talking about the Northman with Mr. Skarsgård.
I've never seen it. I'm stoked. I love
Oh,
when you
get
guys give me an
ready.
excuse to cross a movie off the list,
Well,
man.
you know what? And you thought this movie was horny. It's just gonna keep going.
Love
So
it.
Yep.
you're
Horny
welcome.
and imperfect. It's gonna be
Horny and
fun.
imperfect.
Same.
Yep.
Another title of my memoir.
Exactly. True. That's the sequel. Yes.
Yes, yeah.
But until then, remember, ladies and ladies, support women's rights, support women's wrongs, and
And don't drop your found toddler on the
Yes.
floor of the mausoleum.
I believe that's in all the baby books.
as the 5-second rule tells you, if it's on the ground too long, you can't